Not the best Monday night football game between the Dolphins and the Steelers, but we do have a football game to talk about this morning, and one of those teams eliminated from the postseason. Good morning. Hope you're off to a great start on this Tuesday. Robert, Lucas, and me with you until 1 o'clock. Good morning, boys.
The Miami Dolphins will never beat the allegations of can't play in the cold. It is officially the identity of the Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel era in Miami. They ended up making this a two-score game. It was 28-3. It was over. And they just couldn't do anything.
So going into yesterday's game, they were 0-5 in temperatures below 40 degrees, which it was below 40 degrees. So they are now 0-6 when Tua starts these games. He was giving quotes this week to the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, a publication that I'm not familiar with, but quotes from Tua in the week leading up saying, "It's football, bro. It is what it is. We got to play them in Pittsburgh, whether it's -20, whether it's 20, we got to play football." I mean, they did go out there and they did theoretically play football, but it was not really as close as even the final score would indicate. So it was well below 20 degrees last night. Dolphins just really struggled to get anything going. Their defense is solid, and Anthony Weaver, their defensive coordinator, is going to get some kind of talk around head coaching opportunities, depending on how many opportunities exist. But the Steelers did exactly what they had to do. They forced Tua to try and beat them, and Tua was unable to get it done last night. He finishes the game 22 of 28, 253, 2 touchdowns and a pick, which looks better than it actually was. The Dolphins, really, the thing that's been the strength of their offense in these last couple of games is the rushing attack, and they really didn't have much going there. Devon Achane, right? Not A-Chain, but Achane. 12 carries, 60 yards, averaged 5 yards a carry, but he was really the only one doing anything on the ground. Rodgers looked great. 23 of 27, 224, 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf had a really nice game, 3 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. They were getting explosive plays last night, and the game was pretty well in hand. I don't know, I felt like midway through the third quarter, it was a done deal.
All right, so the Steelers are 8-6. They are at the top of the division. They still have to go to Detroit, go to Cleveland, and host the Ravens at the end of the season. In a year where the Mike Tomlin discussion feels like it's gotten more heated than ever, where Ben Roethlisberger is saying on his podcast that it's probably time to move on.
He walked that back a little bit, apparently.
He walked it back a little bit. But that does feel like it is the general sentiment coming from Pittsburgh. And for the record, I think that's okay, right? Like, it's easy for us to sit back and say, oh, you have it so hard up there. No losing seasons. All you do is make the playoffs. But I think it's okay for an average Steelers fan to feel like they're kind of just stuck in this mediocrity. And the interesting thing about this season is even if the Steelers win the AFC North, they will not have done it by getting back to the heights of the Mike Tomlin era, right? Like, let's say they lose to Detroit, they end up winning out, and they finish the season with 9 or 10 wins and are bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Like, it's the same old stuff. The AFC North just wasn't exactly what it was expected to be in 2025. So it wouldn't really change the conversation. Mike Tomlin, it feels like, though the vibes maybe are a notch better after last night, would have to go on a run to feel like it's not just more of the same of what it's been over the last decade.
Well, and they, because then you get into an off-season situation. Do we really think, around the room, Robert, I'll start with you, is this Aaron Rodgers' last season, yes or no?
Do they go to the playoffs?
Yes.
No.
No, you think he'll like the taste of postseason football? It's been a while since he's been in the postseason. You think he'll like it so much that he'll convince himself at 42 that it'll be worth coming back for?
I think that in the situation that the Steelers go to the playoffs, they will have played themselves out of a top quarterback, which the class keeps getting thinner as the day goes on. And that's kind of the plight of the Steelers and the no losing seasons, right? They never lose enough or lose consistently enough to suck enough. Do you guys know the last time they had a top 10 pick?
Oh,
I can tell you who it was. They traded 210 to get Devin Bush. It's the last time they had a top 10 pick.
In a couple of years.
So I think if they go to the playoffs, Rodgers would have the leverage to then say, hey, I would like to come back. You spend more money on defense than anyone in the league. I can help facilitate that with a lower cap charge. Let's run it back one more time. And in the meantime, let's see what Will Howard has in the backup role. See if we have someone who can be the heir apparent, and I would run it back.
Lucas?
Conventional wisdom tells me, yeah, this is it for him. But I think I'm with Bert. Nothing about Aaron Rodgers feels conventional.
Which is why I think he'd be done, even if they made the playoffs. Like, I would go the counter on that I don't know. It's a rare thing, the athlete that gets to go out at a time that their body isn't keeping them out, right? Like, Brady did it. Brady could, Brady's saying he could still play quarterback if they let him, but he can't unretire at this point in time. Manning was a shell of himself when it was over. Like, we all understood that it was over, especially these quarterbacks, because the quarterbacks, especially the great ones. I mean, Rivers, he looked okay.
He gave him a chance to win.
He gave them a chance.
An elite defense on the road.
And he's never been, like Phillip Rivers, even when he was good, was never like super arm strength, super mobile guy. He's just smart enough to get by with the way that he plays football. So maybe that was going to age a little better than your average NFL quarterback might, who relies on a great more physical ability. But I would think that because Aaron Rodgers is unconventional, that they would make it to the playoffs. I'm assuming in this situation they don't win the Super Bowl. Because if they won the Super Bowl, I would say, yeah, he's for sure out. But assuming that the Steelers are not really the kind of team that we're talking about to make a legit postseason run, I'd say that he clearly doesn't like getting hit anymore. And he's clearly not mobile enough to avoid some of the hits that he took last night, because Dolphins got him a couple of times in ways that were uncomfortable. A couple of those third down sacks last night that just looked like they hurt as that old man was being thrown to the ground. And I understand it's natural grass, so maybe it doesn't hurt as bad as it would be turf, but still, I bet one way or the other he's done.
But he looked comfortable.
Sure.
It was efficient, 23 of 27, 224, 2 scores. I mean, has he been kind of a best case scenario? Maybe not best case scenario.
They're in the lead in the division.
But he's certainly surpassed most expectations, I would say, of what everybody thought Aaron Rodgers was after the Jets experience.
If Rodgers was to return, he would need 15 passing touchdowns this and next year to pass Peyton Manning to be third all time in NFL passing touchdowns, behind only Drew Brees and Tom Brady.
He would definitely need another year to pass Brett Favre in yards, too.
And I don't even know if that's possible. I was looking at that as well. Let me pull that back up. I think he would need – so this year he has 6 yards shy of 2,600 passing yards. He trails Brett Favre by around 4,000 passing yards. So he would need a
big year next year.
A prolific year for a 43-year-old.
Like the biggest year he's had in multiple seasons.
Let me get you the actual figure because I'm using head math right now.
I mean, he went for 3,800 last year with the Jets.
Right, which they were trailing, and he probably was trying to prove to somebody that he could do something, but that's tough. But you can never discount veterans and how they feel about their legacy. I mean, that's the whole reason Ed Reed didn't retire after they won the Super Bowl. He was, I think, 6 interceptions away from passing Rod Woodson or something like that. Mm-hmm. So he came back and was like, I really want this, got 3 picks, and then had to retire.
Meanwhile, the vibes felt like they were improving around Mike McDaniel, even if it was a long shot. The Dolphins technically in the playoff picture going into last night. Now they're eliminated. They're 6-8. Is Mike McDaniel the coach of the Dolphins next year?
Who's the GM?
Yeah, that's the thing. They got to bring in a GM. Dolphins finish out at home against the Bengals, at home against the Bucks, and at the Patriots. So right back up to the cold weather to finish out the regular season.
So we've talked about this before, just to kind of bring it local, right? Should they have fired Brian Callahan when they fired Rand Carthon? I was of the opinion at the season's end, the Monday after the season end, clean house. Like, you can find anybody to go 3-14. And, Tennessee, I'm sure they regretted it to some extent because if you fired him, when did he get fired? Week 6? After week 6?
He was let go in weeks. It was right before the Pats game.
Yeah, so the Raiders. He lost.
After Raiders.
Yeah, so week 6, the Monday after, he was fired. If you were prepared, if you're Amy, to fire him 6 weeks in, then you didn't really believe in him anyway, right? Like, and the evidence to that point in the season was that they were not growing, and that's what the fan base wanted. It's what I don't know how many people in media were actively calling for Brian Callahan to be fired. I feel like I said it a handful of times in front of a microphone. I don't know how many other people were out there kind of banging that drum. But she did the thing that the fan base wanted. They have been better without Brian Callahan, so it's not like it was the incorrect move, but it should have been done when you fired the other guy, just to give yourself a head coach and a general manager that's on the same page. Now, Mike Borgonzi's still going to get to do that, theoretically, but you kind of set yourself back a little further before you could actually take that step forward. Because now we're just talking about a coaching search again. In the case of McDaniel and the Dolphins, I think he's a good enough coach. I think their roster is awful. I think that Tua contract is one of the worst contracts in the sport. Thank God Deshaun Watson exists for Tua's purposes. Otherwise, it would be the worst active NFL quarterback contract, right? What's he on the books for next year? They have to keep him.
So they do have to keep him for one more year. Next year, he is on the salary cap for $56.4 million. After that, they could cut him. You would eat a pretty sizable amount of dead cap, but it would not be an insurmountable amount of dead cap if they had a new coach and GM who wanted to move on. You could cut him next year with a $53 million cap, or the following year to save about $20 million.
If I was Miami, I would look at the job that he did with the roster that he had and say, you are good enough to stay here. Now, if you're a Titans fan, you'd be hoping that he gets fired, because I bet if he gets fired from this job, I don't think that he would jump right back in, or that he would be immediately thought of as let's just give this guy another head coaching job. Maybe he would. I don't know what the dialogue, and we don't know what jobs are going to be open. Like if Cincinnati came available and Mike McDaniel said, yeah, I'll fix everything with Joe Burrow, even though the offense isn't the problem there, would Cincinnati jump at that? I don't know.
Doesn't he seem like the kind of guy who just wants to sit on his couch and just veg out for a year? Like sit there, get some Cheetos, get a nice little vape pen, sit and watch Days of Our Lives and just hang out. He's like, yeah, I don't really feel like it.
He strikes me more as a Curb guy. Just sit there and binge hours and hours of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
See, he struck me as a Frasier guy. I thought he would like eggs, salad, and scrambled eggs. He would probably be singing that.
I love Frasier.
That is to the surprise of no one.
It's but that's a good show.
Frasier is an incredible show.
Get out of here.
It's a classic.
I don't know. To make it just serious about him for a second, Cosell talks about him as if he's one of the smartest minds in football. And that's why he was hired, right? But I think this guy's a bit of a mad scientist. I think you guys have him completely wrong. I think he's manic almost in the way that he thinks about the run game. People talk about him that way anyway. I never had any interaction other than to watch him. But he's a coach who is very, very schematically driven, who is very respected. I mean, the best version of the 49ers, they had all of these different coaches who are now getting opportunities on staff, and it's because the Niners were having success. But it's mostly because of what he is able to scheme up in the run game. And what beside Achane and apparently Aaron Brewer, who's going to be an all-pro center this year, what other parts of the Dolphins do you look at and say, yeah, that guy's doing a lot? That guy has a lot to work with. What is Jalen Waddle viewed as a wide receiver one in the NFL right now? I don't think I would.
I think he should be let go.
McDaniel?
Yeah. I think his best fit would be as a coordinator under the likes of Robert Saleh for, I don't know, some team in warmer weather than Miami.
I mean, the best.
but for, some team that doesn't play its divisional games in Buffalo and New England, let's just say.
Okay.
Maybe more like Houston and Indy, where it's inside, and then Jacksonville outside. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, just spitballing there. I really wonder, because Saleh, you can almost, I just assume that the Giants aren't going to consider him because he's already been in New York. Like, assume that they will have as much information on Robert Saleh as they want, and maybe Robert Saleh doesn't even want to go back to the New York market for the other team.
Giants fans are doing backflips and hoping that their harebrained ideas will pull Marcus Freeman because there are a ton of Notre Dame ties within the Giants front office, and they're thinking that they would be able to weasel him away. I don't think that's possible, but I don't know why you would leave the cushiest job in college football. Like, you're guaranteed to make the playoffs. Your boosters will give you whatever money you want. Like, why would you leave that?
Well, Diana, is this in your headlines, Marcus Freeman? What was reported about him over the weekend?
I don't reveal my secrets.
Well, I would like to talk about it because otherwise I'll just sit here and talk about it.
We'll talk about it next.
Okay. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. The best sports story locally this year has been Vanderbilt. An awesome football season, the best that the program has had, certainly in the modern era of college football. The basketball teams, both of them, men's and women's, off to an undefeated start. And we don't talk a tremendous amount of Vanderbilt on a regular basis. But the teams are so good this year, we've had no choice. Vanderbilt Athletic Director Candace Story-Lee joins us now on 104.5 The Zone. So kind of you to take some time out of your schedule, Candace, to do this, and we appreciate you coming on the show for the first time. Congratulations on the entire athletic department's success so far this year. It's got to be really, really cool for you, for the alumni, for all the student athletes, all the coaches, everybody on the staff. Well, I mean, shame on us, honestly, for what are we, a mile away from campus? And we dwell so much on the NFL, obviously, and the Vols tend to take up a lot of oxygen, but there's no question that you guys have been the best story in sports this year. What can you say about the job that Clark Lee has done, the players as well? I know it's not just about individuals, especially in that sport above all others.
It's been great to see the fruits of the labor for people to start to witness what we've been sowing, right? I think we're starting to reap some of what we've sowed. We still have a long way to go in terms of what our aspirations are, but really, really proud of how he has led, how he's been agile. You know, that's an important, I think it's probably an underrated part of leadership, the ability to be flexible and still stay true to your values, but update and revise your thinking as needed in order to ensure success. And I think he's done a wonderful job of that. And it's been a great partnership.
Well, and all across college football, Candace, we're seeing probably the craziest coaching carousel any of us have ever seen in our lifetimes. And there's another era where Vanderbilt would kind of fall victim to that, right, in times past with the job that Clark has done. But you guys announcing that extension a couple of weeks ago, how intentional were you in getting out ahead of that and maybe trying to have some anticipation in what was to come across the world of college football and some of the changes that maybe you saw coming down the line, understanding you wanted to keep your guy here in Nashville?
My job is to be as proactive as possible. And, you know, I believe when you have continuity of leadership, especially the right leader, I think it's key to actually executing and doing what we came here to do, what we hope to do. So, you know, I think that the extension for Clark just represents that we believe that we have the right leader, and he believes that together we're committed to actually meeting the mission. You know, I think you can look over the journey and you can see that we're no longer what people perceived Vanderbilt to be. So the historical narrative, I know what it is. I've been at Vanderbilt a long time, so I know what the historical narrative is. And it was important to me and to Clark, to our chancellor, to our board, that we were intentional about showing that we are not what we had been. Now, that doesn't mean that it was all bad before, because that's just not true. That'd be disrespectful to so many people that have come before. But the reality is that there needed to be a change in mentality and therefore a change in perception. And you know, Clark is a highly coveted guy, especially given what the market had been and what this coaching carousel is. And I understand that because he's a great leader. But I think it's very valuable that Vanderbilt has demonstrated that we are serious about competing at the highest level. And that's why this is a great job, you know, and so I'm excited about where we're headed. And I think that that's just yet another indication that we're going in the right direction.
Vanderbilt Athletic Director Candace Story-Lee with us. So how did you guys as a program, as an athletic department, kind of walk the line of the disappointment of being left out of the college football playoff picture and the excitement of still getting an opportunity to do something that has not been done in the program's history and win 11 games, go and compete in Tampa later on this year? Kind of how did everybody process that when those final rankings officially came out?
Well, I think if you look at the way that we tried to handle ourselves, we come into the season and we feel pretty clear about what we can do. Other people were not quite there yet, right? So you didn't see us reflected in preseason rankings. Like you didn't see that despite what we thought we were going to be able to put on the field. So we just focused our attention on creating a body of work that would speak for itself. We finished the season 10-2. That's our best season, in our history. Once we finished that last game in Knoxville, then we turned up the heat. So then you heard us talking a lot about why us, why we should be considered in the field, why we think we're one of the best college football programs in the country, and why we felt like we should have the opportunity to compete for a national championship. The reality is that the committee made a decision, and it doesn't change that we had a great season and we still have business in front of us. So once Sunday came, then they said, you're playing Iowa. And we said, okay, well, we're going to Tampa. And so the season is not complete yet. And so business is not finished. I think just look at last year, look at this year, and you say that there's been great progress made. We're proud of that, but we do want to reach for more. So the disappointment is, Clark did a great job talking about this and framing it that, we're not victims to this process. That's not who we are. We're responsible for the outcomes, and we'll continue to put ourselves in position so that we can compete for a national championship, because that's the goal.
Some of the explanations, though, from the committee, not to again to your point about not being victimized by this situation and being able to celebrate what has been an incredibly successful football season and just success athletically across the board, Candace, which is as big an accomplishment as anything, especially for somebody in your position. That was our biggest talking point, where Vanderbilt was almost knocked for the Tennessee win because they said, well, Tennessee, we've dropped out of the rankings. Well, they're a ranked opponent when you went to Tennessee and beat them soundly. And so that was one of the things that at least was a frustrating point for us to kind of talk through. I'm sure for Vanderbilt fans to have to deal with. And then to get to the Heisman voting, and I swear to God, Candace, I did not wear my Indiana stuff to be antagonistic today. It's my alma mater. I realized my bad. I didn't think about that when I got dressed today.
I respect it if it's your alma mater. You're fine. You should respect your alma mater. I understand that.
Absolutely. So we get to the Heisman voting, and I don't know if it's just a product of the year that people were not paying as close of attention to the candidates that were actually being voted on, because frankly, I think Lucas said, had we, either of us, had Heisman votes, that Diego would have been the person that we thought was the Heisman Trophy winner for his importance to the football team, not just being the best quarterback on the best football team in the country. I was stunned to see the disparity in the voting, regardless of the outcome. And Mendoza is deserving for sure. I just wonder how you viewed something like that.
So in both cases, whether you're talking about the committee's decision ultimately to not put us in the playoffs, or the way that the Heisman votes turned out, all I can tell you is that one of the things I love about sports is that there are so many lessons that you can learn that are applicable to life. Sometimes things work in your favor and sometimes they don't. And, as an educator first, as an athletic director, as a leader of young people, our job is to help them deal with things as they come, knowing that sometimes you do not get what you think you should have. Sometimes things do not work out fairly. I think Diego Pavia was deserving of the Heisman. I think Vanderbilt football was deserving of being in the college football playoff. The reality is that there are a lot of things within our control, and we're going to focus on that. It does not change. And I told Diego this after the ceremony. I was disappointed for him and for us. That doesn't take anything away from Mendoza. You know what? The reality is that every kid on that stage was deserving, because they had an awesome year and they had a great impact. So I don't take anything away from that. I'm proud of Diego Pavia, and I'm proud of this football team, because they put together something that so many people thought was not possible. Those of us in this building knew. And now we get a chance to show that we're serious about sustaining success. like sometimes things just don't work out. That's the reality. I have been there and done that. And you got to keep going. That's how you build resilience. That's a great example that we can set for the people around us and the people we're responsible for. And so we press on.
Candace Story-Lee, Vanderbilt Athletic Director, kind enough to make some time for us this morning on 104.5 The Zone.
Well, obviously, after the ceremony, Candace, Diego taking to social media, a lot of people had a reaction to that. Just curious what your reaction to that was with the leader that he's been for your program and how he's represented it and everything that took place on Saturday. How have you guys sort of processed it, communicated with him about it?
So I reflected my sentiments in the statement that I put out yesterday. And, I said that one, I acknowledged that Diego apologized and that he was very aware of the errors in his judgment. I also acknowledge that I know firsthand that he's contrite and he's remorseful as he didn't intend to cause any hurt to anyone. The truth is that, particularly for those of us who know Diego well, that guy is a fierce and passionate and emotional competitor. And we've encouraged that, we've celebrated that. We've nurtured that the entire time he's been here. Now, everything has its boundaries, its proper boundaries and its proper place. And we do have standards, and we do hold him to those standards. And sometimes, if unchecked, those emotions can actually reflect things that are counter to what even he believes. And so as someone who knows him very well, this is not a situation where he's not in alignment with our values. This is a situation where he made a lapse in judgment. And so this is a university, and we are always learning. And we are crazy enough and blessed enough to say we want to work with young people. And so there's an opportunity to grow and to develop. That's why we're here. And so Diego Pavia is still a young person who's growing and learning, despite the fact that he's doing it on a very, very visible platform. But that's what we signed up for, and I'm happy to do it.
I want to go back to what you said about flexibility in reference to Clark Lee and apply it to your position, because when you took over this job in 2020, Candace, I mean, I can't imagine how daunting all of it seemed, not just given the atmosphere at the time, but given some of the challenges that I know you're well aware of that Vanderbilt has dealt with historically and kind of what the first step was. Now, 5 years removed, I mean, it seems externally, at least, night and day different. I know you say that there's a lot of people that deserve credit for doing great work before you were able to come in and implement some of the changes that you were. But what has been the most challenging part of your job, given the current landscape of collegiate athletics and the time that you took over this job?
You're correct that I mean, I don't know that I was the envy of a lot of people taking over Vanderbilt at the start of COVID in an abrupt way, with a new chancellor coming in. I don't know if I would use the word daunting, because it didn't seem bigger than me. It didn't seem like something I couldn't accomplish. It did feel like it was going to require a lot of collaboration, a lot of teamwork, a lot of resources. And the reality is, I had a vision. No vision can be accomplished by itself. And so I can give a lot of credit to a lot of people, and I try to always do that. That's really important to me. But I was very clear. I think I knew what we needed. I needed the runway, the resources, and the support to do it. And those are the things that you kind of can control. External to us, the landscape was the most disruptive that we've ever seen. So you're correct. And that's where I had to be agile and be flexible. But, we lead with our values here. I felt and feel very confident that we were making decisions for the right reasons and willing to take chances. Now, calculated chances, all in the name of creating an opportunity to compete and win at the highest level at a place like Vanderbilt. I mean, I don't know that you can lose. It's not been easy. It's been awfully rewarding, but it's not been easy. It's not been easy, but, I try to learn from everybody. I see what our student athletes do every day. They fall down, they get back up. They show up again, even when it's really tough. Well, same with me. So it's really been an honor and a privilege to lead through what is a remarkable time, challenging but remarkable time. And I just can't wait to see what's next for us.
Count us among the people who are excited to see what the next phase of Vanderbilt athletics is across the board. Again, congratulations to everybody involved. I know maybe not to achieve the ultimate goal of national championships like Pavi was talking about this offseason in football, but to be able to have the kind of season that you did, to have Diego there, to have the success that the basketball teams, both of them, are having so far to the start of the season, it's badass across the board. So thank you so much for the time, Candace. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Happy holidays to you all. Anchor down.
To you as well. That's Candace Story-Lee, Vanderbilt Athletic Director, kind enough to make some time for us on this Tuesday. Coming up next, do we have things to give away, Robert?
We do. We got some Preds tickets.
Okay, Preds won again last night.
They sure did. Philip Forsberg, little Hattie against the Blues. First Stamkos, and then Forsberg against St. Louis.
Is that Lucas's stomach, or is that the Predator sound?
Was that a more appropriate volume for you guys?
Oh.
No, I like it when it just runs everything over, and yeah, that wakes me up.
Okay, except for the people driving around in their cars.
10-2. Do we know which game it's for?
I believe it's the Avalanche, but I would have to double check.
Again? How many games do they play against the Avalanche?
Do not play the Avalanche for quite some time.
All right, why don't we just tell you that we have Preds tickets to give away? I'm stalling so you can look this up. That we have Preds tickets to give away if you call in 615-737-1045 and give us the thing in sports that made you say, oh no, the game is...
The Islanders!
Hey!
Yay!
So that is coming up on...
Oh, that's January 8th.
Into the new year.
So this could make a nice Christmas present. If your kids like the Preds and you're too cheap to buy them, give us a call. What made you say, oh no, in sports?
615-737-1045. We'll do it coming up next. for the opportunity to win 2 tickets for the Preds versus the Islanders. Preds making a bit of a comeback here lately. They won last night. I tweeted John Glennon, who put out some stats. I said, is the hockey team good? He said, slow down, but still, they're winning lately. And if you want to take advantage of a good time to see the hockey team, 615-737-1045. Tell us what in sports made us say, oh no. So, our oh no, or my oh no this week is us. Because of entirely what happened that last segment. Lucas, would you like to tell people what exactly just happened during that segment? Because Candace Storey Lee was somebody that I wanted to talk to, I don't know, how many weeks ago, when we first made the ask to have her on. Was this around the time that Vanderbilt was left out of the college football playoff?
Yeah, we wanted to catch up with her before the playoff was revealed, the final playoff rankings. So, and just we weren't able to make it work scheduling-wise ahead of then.
Yes.
So that's a good submission by you. We didn't get her thoughts before the rankings came out.
Yeah, so what do you have, Lucas? What's your
No.
Yes, exactly. That is the segment.
Well, what just happened is we had a fantastic interview with Vandy Athletic Director Candace Storey Lee.
I asked you a number of weeks ago to reach out to Vanderbilt. You were very good in doing so, and you were able to book Candace Storey Lee. And then, as we were preparing to do your NFL headline segment in this past segment, Robert looked at us and said,
hey, Candace is here for the interview that you told us about, Lucas.
Yeah, just like we planned.
Yeah.
Again, if the oh no is you don't listen to anything and it goes in one ear and out the other, then that's a great submission by you. But I will not stand for that.
That is the segment.
You booking the Vanderbilt athletic director on the heels of one of their most accomplished athletic seasons across the board and forgetting that we had her booked at 10:20 and leaving me in a state of panic because I was not prepared for the interview.
Bert, the accountability, not a strength.
No,
and then he wears his Indiana pullover too, just to add insult to it.
If I had known
it in,
she was on the show today, I wouldn't have worn this. It made me feel like twice as big of a bleep hole.
Yeah, you should. You should.
I hate you so much.
Your classless knows no bounds.
You looking at me and seeing like, oh yeah, I did say 10:20 on Tuesday.
Yeah, convenient story for you.
I wanted to reach across here and choke him like Homer Simpson with Bart.
It turned out great, though. She was incredible.
She was awesome.
Yes.
She was awesome. She was very gracious. We should have her back. Lucas is not allowed to book her this time.
Oh, your memory's fading, pal.
I'm very mad
to see it. Your memory's fading in your old age.
I'm so mad at you.
I want to change my own no because you guys would not let me say I love you as she was leaving.
He got in my ear and said, I want to say I love you to her. And I said, don't you do that. I'm already mortified about how this entire situation happened. And she was an awesome guest. I would like to talk to her again at some point.
Maybe next time you can wear
a
Tennessee shirt or something.
Ironically, thank God, I had questions written down from the last time that you told me she was going to be on 3 weeks ago.
Man, just try to set yourself reminders when I tell you things instead of blaming me for not telling you things that I do tell you. Why don't you set
yourself reminders? I hate you.
My oh no in sports this week is former Tennessee coach Jeremy Pruitt, who is back. I saw this headline. I said, oh no. Because Pruitt won a preliminary injunction in an Alabama court that will halt the NCAA show cause order, and it allows him to coach in college football again. So in case anybody forgot, Pruitt levied a $100 million lawsuit against the NCAA. Tennessee was named in the lawsuit, saying that Tennessee essentially conspired with the NCAA to fire Jeremy Pruitt for cause and to slap him with a 6-year show cause, which the NCAA did. Now, I don't know what the other results of this lawsuit will be. I don't know just how much Jeremy Pruitt is going to get out of this, but he did get the show cause waived. So if a college football program wants to bring in Jeremy Pruitt to coach its defense, to coach its defensive backs, to be an analyst, whatever it might be, they are free to do so.
Old Cornbread, back in the mix.
He's back.
What you got, Robert?
My oh no goes to former ECU quarterback Caton Hauser, who announced he was going in the transfer portal following our offensive coordinator who went to Ole Miss, John David Baker. And it's not the fact that he left. It's the fact that Pirate Nation found his burner.
Pirate Nation.
And Pirate Nation has sniffed him out. The burner was, the name on the burner was Bruner, Bruner, and it was made in December of 2025. The issue was he accidentally tweeted one of his burner tweets from his actual Twitter. They sniffed him out, found it. He has since deleted that burner, but screenshots are forever. He was replying to a tweet saying, correction, he put ECU on the radar. No one knew WTF ECU was until he got there and balled out. Move along. There are many of these. Why are people so upset? Where was this energy when JDB left?
Oh, no.
Why would he want to play for a pointless bowl game without an OC or a DC and risk injury? He has to do what's best for him and his career and his future. Thanks for all he did to ECU, but now on to the next. Quit crying. He goes on to say, waste of a bowl game, not worth playing in it. Get over yourself. And someone replied saying, I think if you're Hauser, you got to try and look forward to what you're playing at the next level, or if you're going to be at the next program. The money is going to be good at any spot. And from his Bruner, he said, exactly. Caden Hauser, you got to be better with the burners, man. What does Ramon Foster say? Your Twitter finger and your mic is always hot?
Yeah.
Caden, you got to be better than that.
Poor form.
Yeah, it's tough because he's going to end up being the backup at Ole Miss next year because he's not really good enough to compete, but I don't think he'll say that from his burner.
Nightmare situation. I mean, I had no idea that we were still doing burners since KD got caught a couple of years ago. And you know what? Kevin Durant owned it. Kevin Durant was like, yeah, I do. So what?
I mean, if you're going to have a burner, name it something more creative than Bruner.
Yeah. Just another version of your name.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Not well thought out.
That'd be like you making a burner and calling it Roberto or something.
Right.
615-737-1045 is the number. What in sports made you say, oh no? Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity to win those Preds tickets and a $100 gift card to a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Start with, that's a fun name, Yancey.
Yes, I've been thinking here and listening to you, and I'm going to talk about probably the classic oh no moment. Growing up as a Red Sox fan and being 13 years old and then the Bill Buckner play. I don't think it gets any greater than that oh no. When you think you finally going to have a championship and then all of a sudden that may be the greatest oh no moment that you could ever have. So.
Yes, that's true. But we are keeping it to this week, not the 1980s, but we do appreciate your call.
What made you say oh no in sports in your lifetime?
Yes, this week. We can do now. We can do a year's end. We can do this year. In 2 weeks when the year comes to a close, and we're doing our final oh no's for the year. But yes, let's keep it to this week. How about Matthew next?
Yeah. So my biggest oh no in sports is Coach Moore at Michigan. That is a giant fall from grace, and the charges are just wild to me.
I would agree that entire situation is a massive oh no. I mean, since then, so there was a lot of rumors out there on the internet. We've got the charges now and the felony on top of the misdemeanors that he had. It's a tough scene. Let's do Rich next.
So my biggest oh no's could be. Can I state a couple of them? They're more
pick
obvious.
one. You got to pick one.
Just got to pick one. So okay. So if I'm completely honest, it would have to be. It's not inside like you guys have and all the other callers, but it's the obvious. It would have to be the Chiefs not going to the playoffs since 2014, and Mahomes blowing his knee out like that. So I think for Chiefs fans, that's a huge deal.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime you get an injury that late, it's a tough scene. Sid is in White House.
My biggest oh no is from the Bears organization this week and all fantasy football players. Not announcing that O'Dunn's, or however you say his name, is not starting until game time.
I think the bigger oh no is you not knowing that man's name. Connor is in Franklin.
All right, my biggest no-no, it's a little late, but why not remind the Colts fans and Colts organization that they wasted their second-round first picks for an overrated cornerback and can't get a first-round quarterback for the next 2 years. Tighten up.
All right, very good.
That is exclusively how I will refer to first-round picks from now on.
How did he say that?
Second-round first picks.
Second-round first
They
picks.
gave up two of their second first two-round picks.
I was confused. I was like, do I need to look at that trade again?
No, you have it correct. It was 2 of their secondary, first, thirdinary, tertiary picks for the first round.
That description was a no-no. All right, one more. Terry and Smyrna. What do you got, Terry? Okay, my no is
I
not
think
having
Terry
a radio
wins.
turned down.
Dang.
No, we're not doing that.
Terry had a good one too, man.
How do we not know to turn the radio down? Anyway. Okay, so you've got Matthew with your own more, Rich with the Mahomes situation, Sid with the inability to pronounce Rome Odunze's name. Okay, I guess apparently they did some trickeration with the injury report. I wasn't familiar with that situation. And Connor trying his best to describe what the hell the Colts did and doing it poorly.
Connor.
I got to go with Connor.
Yeah.
Just because the entire description put us all in a blender trying to figure out what the hell he was saying?
Well, no one said, that's what made me say, oh no.
Yeah. Connor should be rewarded.
No one did that. So
Connor should be rewarded for incompetence.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game.
The Preds, who have all of their secondary, thirdinary, first-round picks.
What was he thinking? All right, give him the damn tickets. Coming up next, quarterback portal madness. We'll get into it. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
11:03, good morning from the Circa Sports at the Mint Kentucky Down studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. Monday Night Football, Steelers 28, Dolphins 15. Aaron Rodgers 23 of 27 for 224 and 2 touchdowns as the Steelers get to 8-6. They lead the division. The Dolphins eliminated from the playoffs. The Predators won in St. Louis on Monday 5-2. Philip Forsberg with a hat trick. They come back home to host the Hurricanes tomorrow night at Bridgestone Arena. And Tennessee basketball comes out of a 10-day break, hosting number 11 Louisville tonight at Thompson Bowling Arena. Tip-off at 6. Vol Network coverage will be joined in progress at the start of the second half on The Zone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
So the college football season is not over. We have playoff games this weekend. We have how many bowls yet to go? We had one bowl game over the weekend, right? What was the Washington-Boise State Bowl?
Well, there was the Cricket Celebration Bowl, which was insane. I'm upset I did not watch the second half of this game. It was 21-0. South Carolina State was getting destroyed at halftime by Prairie View A&M.
Yes, I watched this game on the plane.
And the Panthers of Prairie View A&M blew that lead in the second half. It went to 4 overtimes, 40-38, the final in favor of South Carolina State. They are essentially HBCU national champs. And then Washington dusted Boise in the bucked up LA Bowl.
Did you see the? So where do you stand on this before? Because what we're going to talk about is the names that are piling up in the transfer portal, and there are many high-profile names going into the portal. There are many high-profile names staying at their respective institutions, and we'll cover that here in just a second. But do you care at all about the attendance on these things? Because I saw a lot being made because they played this Boise State-Washington game in SoFi, and it was a ghost town. But I just can't imagine that, like, you can be critical because those are two theoretically West Coast teams. They should have better attendance. LA is a trip that I'm sure fan bases would want to make. But, like, how long ago did we find out that they were going to even be in this bowl?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of these get good attendance apart from some of these SEC, Big Ten kind of bowl games. Like Old Dominion in South Florida play in the Staff DNA Cure Bowl tomorrow night at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. There's going to be like 10,000 people there, maybe. No, I don't care about that. I do enjoy watching these games. Like the words Capital One Bowl Mania, those words do something to me. And I don't care how meaningless it gets year over year, how many players opt out. I will always get up for bowl season.
Well, it's football. It's just more football. And like I know sometimes like I don't care for Tennessee plays a style of football that prolongs their games. Like, I don't need a 5-hour football game because of the way that Tennessee plays. I get it.
I'd rather it be 6 hours.
I understand. I understand.
Maybe 7.
No.
Be okay with 8. Wouldn't be opposed to 9.
In principle.
Wouldn't put up a fight for 10.
Okay.
I love Army-Navy, but the worst thing about Army-Navy is that game flies
it
by.
It goes too quickly.
They're just running the ball constantly.
I think there is a balance, but yes, more football is better than less football. We can agree. Because people in the chat, somebody on YouTube saying, does anyone besides bettors care about these bowl games anymore? I mean, I don't bet on bowl games. I just like watching them. It's just bowl games are chaotic. Sometimes they're blowouts, but you can get some crazy stuff. You can get some highlights. College football is the best for that. Just purely the entertainment value. There is no more entertaining product, I think, than college football. The NFL really doesn't come close to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but like, doesn't this feel wrong?
What do you mean?
Doesn't it just feel weird? Like
What?
Something's missing. Like, if we're going to do this, we should just... 38 bowls in 14 days! 38 bowls in 14 days!
It's the at the end.
So that
gets
was
me
an
going.
updated version.
Well,
And he was singing over it.
I didn't really do the math. I don't know how many more days nor how many bowls we have.
Well, tonight we have the IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. Robert, you did some research on what IS4S is, right? As Troy and Jacksonville State face off in Montgomery, two Alabama teams playing in Alabama.
I sure did, and it stands for Integrated Solutions for Systems.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of gift they would get. Here's a Starbucks gift card. Go play football now. Go play football. Didn't know we would be responsible for a gift.
So,
what would you like to do? What would you like me to do with it?
No, it's
just staring at me.
This is probably the most contested, the most tumultuous, the hardest hitting Alabama rivalry between Troy and Jack State. Right?
Yeah, if anything approaches the hate of the Iron Bowl, I would say it's Troy Jacksonville State.
Approaches. I think it far surpasses, Lucas. And now there's hardware on the line. It's the IS4S bowl game trophy.
Like,
this is not.
They don't get a trophy for the Iron Bowl, right?
There's not a trophy for the Iron Bowl.
Is that just a Big Ten thing?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like every Big Ten rivalry has a trophy, and the SEC just like
don't really care about trophies.
Do you even get a bowl? Is there a bowl?
And
if there was, what would each school eat out of said bowl?
Or what would you smoke out of it?
Well, they're college kids. You don't want to ruin their brains. They're still developing.
Jacksonville State 1.5-point favorites in this game. Tomorrow you get Old Dominion in South Florida in the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. I don't believe Alex Golish is coaching in that game. Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
What would you get for the DNA Cure Bowl? Everyone gets a free flu shot.
A free 23andMe subscription.
The latest COVID booster.
Everyone gets to donate some of their DNA.
No, 23andMe went belly up. All those dummies that submitted their DNA to 23andMe, and they went bankrupt. Yes.
Stop it.
I swear to God.
I sent them so much blood and hair. There's no way.
Why? We all know what you are.
No, I didn't know. I needed clarification. And
You're
then also
very, very white, very, very pink, very, very Irish.
And that's what they concurred with. But I would say that it also helps other people find you that they would be related to. And that's how I found out that my father has another son in Texas. I'm not even joking. That's not even a farce. My dad was in the Air Force, and he was a little promiscuous.
I was going to say, all this time, you've been calling your mother the promiscuous one.
And it was my daddy. He was a rolling stone. He gathered all kinds of moss.
We should actually do that to Lucas to prove that he is, in fact, not Brazilian.
What? Okay, if it's not 23andMe, what would it be?
I don't know. What's
22andU?
Yeah. Is there a company that still does that kind of thing?
Oh, I have no idea.
If you'll just submit your blood and hair sample to me, I will find the proper authorities to donate it to.
It'd just be like Tom Brady and clone a dog.
Clone Lucas. It's like, you will remember when you book interviews. This is your sole purpose. It's like,
I'm so mad at you. It worked out great, but I'm still mad at you.
You're a piece of work for wearing your Indiana shirt today.
I can't believe it, dude. And you knew 2 weeks?
2 weeks
3
in advance
weeks
this
in
was
advance?
happening, and just no foresight on your part.
I really felt bad about that.
Louisiana plays Delaware tomorrow. The Blue Hens in a bowl game for the first time ever, as they are pretty new to FBS. The Fighting Joe Flacco's,
yes,
with a chance at a 7-6 finish in the 68 Ventures Bowl.
D1 Blue Hens now.
Yes, thank you for listening to the show. Literally the whole point of what I was saying there.
Not 2 seconds.
I mean, literally the whole thing I was doing was, hey, they're in a bowl game for the first time because they're just now at this level.
I was reading my email.
Did you know Kennesaw State? He's just like, throw him.
I was reading my email.
Kennesaw State is playing Western Michigan in the Myrtle Beach Bowl on Friday.
That's got to be one of the better bowls, right?
One of the more prestigious, I would say.
Okay, Myrtle Beach has to be one of the trashiest places in America, yes?
If not the.
Okay.
How do you guys look at Pensacola? Is that like the white trash Florida beach, or is that the nice beach?
Yes, because that's where Lucas vacations.
Did you see how quick he was to say that?
He said no.
Perdido Key.
Like when they say, like
If
when
you
they
must
say,
know.
like when the NFL players say, no, Brazil, it's not safe to go out in the streets. No.
You can eat the rice and beans.
If I had a friend that had a home in Myrtle Beach that I had free access to, you bet your ass I'd be going to Myrtle Beach. But I don't. He lives in Pensacola.
The dead giveaway was how high his voice got. No.
It was kind of like us trying this chitlins. If you haven't seen the video, it's like, they're not bad.
Crystal hung you two out to dry. Crystal at 92Q, if you haven't seen it.
We're trying to be polite.
What's her Instagram handle?
Crystal with an eye. Because she has like the lazy eye, so she's like making a joke.
Oh, really?
Yes, she's
like
Crystal
WHITTA.
with AI.
With AI. Okay. Maybe that's what they're giving away at the DNA Engineering Bowl or
There
whatever
you
the
go.
hell. So she took a video on Instagram yesterday. You can go look at it on her Instagram profile of letting her coworkers, her white coworkers, try chitlins for the first time. The two of you were useless yesterday.
You retweeted it on Instagram, whatever their retweets are called.
Yes, I reposted it on Instagram, so you can find it on mine. You can find it on hers.
The comments were much nicer than the comments here. Plenty of very attractive women were saying that chubby one is funny. Can't believe they would talk about Lucas like that. But I thought I was also humorous. But
well, I saw more comments about it being compared to unwashed genitalia.
No. I was worried I was going to get in trouble for that. Thought she was going to bleep it. She did not bleep it.
We do have portal madness in regards to the quarterback position to talk about.
We can do that. Would you rather do that instead of NFL headlines?
I would much rather do that instead of NFL headlines.
Okay, buddy. We will capitulate, even though there's no reason to reward you for your work so far today. We will talk about the portal coming up next.
You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land where boundaries are that of imagination. There's a signpost up ahead, and it reads, The Portal Zone.
Welcome back to the show.
That was awesome.
You guys not familiar with the old Twilight Zone?
heck
No,
yeah,
dude. We are. I wasn't.
Yeah, I
wasn't
just
sure.
stopped telling you guys stuff, so in case you were like, no, don't do that.
Oh, that was great.
I'm
Like,
going to start doing it.
wanting to tell Candace Story Lee that you loved her on the way
I
out the
think
door.
she would have
I
appreciated
don't
it.
think that's true.
I think she would have said, I love you back.
I think you would have made an uncomfortable situation already more uncomfortable.
I think she would have, buddy.
She definitely would have. And next time I see her, I'm going to let her know.
Dylan Raiola, Brendan Sorsby, DJ Lagway, just a few of the names. TJ Finley looking for, I believe, his 18th college football destination. Nashville product, Kenny Minchey, Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt. After the craziest coaching carousel we have seen in pretty much any of our lifetimes, now here comes absolute portal madness at the quarterback position. Now, two of these players were blue chip 5-star prospects coming out. They were two of the most coveted quarterbacks out of high school. They are, of course, DJ Lagway out of Florida and Dylan Raiola out of Nebraska, whose season ended prematurely this past year. Now, Lagway, it sounded like, wanted to stay at Florida. CBS reported yesterday that after initial discussions with John Summerall and his coaching staff, suddenly it wasn't such a good fit. And Lagway's out the door. So the first question is, and I don't think this answer is as obvious as it may seem at surface level, which of these players that I've just listed, and for this conversation's sake, let's keep it to DJ Lagway, Dylan Raiola, Sam Leavitt, and Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby. Kenny Minchey was a 4-star prospect coming out. We have not really seen the sample size of him playing football. TJ Finley, has played everywhere from LSU to Auburn to Georgia State, his most recent stop. Texas State mixed in between. He'll land somewhere. But in between Lagway, Raiola, Leavitt, and Sorsby, who would your instant reaction be if I asked you most attractive quarterback to potentially be the starter for a Power 4 football team between those four?
It's probably Raiola, right? Lagway has really not acquitted himself well. Raiola's coming off injury. What's the timeline for his recovery? Because that would have impacted, and it probably is going to impact what he stands to make at his next opportunity.
Well, what was his injury? Was it an ACL?
ACL, I'm pretty sure.
No, it was a broken fibula.
Oh, okay.
He probably wishes it was an ACL because his idol, Pat Mahomes, now has a torn ACL. But broken fibula.
I think that's easier to recover from, though. Is this a clean break, like a complete break?
I don't know.
Okay.
He started 9 games this past year. In those 9 games, he threw for 2,000 yards with 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He has 2 years of eligibility left. Remember, he flipped from Georgia to Nebraska. Legacy player at Nebraska, decided to do something not too dissimilar to what Jared Curtis is doing, flipping from Georgia to Vandy. Raiola, not necessarily a Nebraska hometown guy. He actually moved to Georgia after committing to Georgia, but has family ties there. Curtis is doing it more on that hometown basis. His high school coach played at Vandy, all of these things. I would go the other direction and say Sam Leavitt. I think you know what you're getting in Sam Leavitt so much more than you do with Dylan Raiola and DJ Lagway. The obvious difference there is the ceiling, specifically for DJ Lagway, who I think has the highest ceiling of any of these guys.
How long do you stop saying that, though?
Sure.
If he keeps, or how long until you stop saying that, though? Because the Sorsby kid, he's in the portal, but he's still considering going to the draft, right?
He is reportedly testing NFL waters. I would say Brendan Sorsby has a better chance to make money, make more than he would if he were to go to the NFL right now at a place like Texas Tech or a place like Tennessee. I would not be stunned if Brendan Sorsby is Tennessee's starting quarterback next year. Those are kind of the two spots that popped up. So he's got some ties. He has family members that live in Knoxville. I had heard about this, and then I heard Austin Price talking about it of VolQuest this morning with Ramon and Will, that he has multiple family members that live in Knoxville. Last year, or this past summer at Big 12 Media Days, Sorsby was asked by Greg McElroy, if you could play in any stadium in the country, where would it be? He said, Neyland Stadium. I went to games there as a kid, loved the environment. So he's mentioned Tennessee, has family that lives in Knoxville. There are obvious ties there, and I believe Tennessee is going to go out and get a veteran option in the portal, whether that be to start as a potential bridge to either McIntyre or Faison Brandon in 2027, or to be a depth piece if one of those two guys starts in 2026. You can't go into next year with two quarterbacks. And there's kind of this assumption that Jake Merklinger is going to be on the way out. So if Tennessee does that, Brendan Sorsby is a guy that doesn't really turn the ball over, has operated kind of quietly. Cincinnati is not exactly a place that's easy to stick out, but he threw for 2,800 yards this year, 27 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, takes care of the football. He's mobile, can use his legs, 580 rush yards this season, 9 rushing touchdowns, had the second best QB rating in the Big 12 this past season. Just quietly had a pretty productive season for the Cincinnati Bearcats. He's actually an Indiana transfer. Started his career at Indiana the first 2 years and, started a few games at IU in 2023, the year before Kurt Cignetti came in and completely changed the program. So he just seems like an instant fit for a Heupel offense with ties to Tennessee. There are obvious connections there. Now, Texas Tech has been brought up a lot in regards to Brendan Sorsby. They have NIL money to spend. His girlfriend is a volleyball player that is headed to play at Texas Tech. So we'll see if he ends up landing at either of those two schools. But writ large across the country, if you're to ask me the most likely option for Tennessee, if they're going to go out and get a veteran quarterback, I would say Brendan Sorsby if he doesn't go to Texas Tech. If you ask me across the board, Power 4 programs across the country, Sam Leavitt has just kind of been steady. You know what you're going to get in him. There's not going to be a lot of variance. DJ Lagway is going to get a big payout. And if I had to bet Miami, I bet we'll end up with either Lagway or Raiola, one of the 2 5-stars. But you just come to that conversation. Do you prefer consistency, proof of concept, sample size for a guy like Sam Leavitt that has been to the college football playoff, that won a conference title at Arizona State 2 seasons ago? Or do you go with the better prospect, the higher upside in DJ Lagway, who had a very up and down, mostly down 2025 with Florida?
I don't think you care if you're a college football program. It's kind of like when you and I started doing this and I would talk about college players in terms of NFL prospects. And you said, no, dumbass, let's talk about them in terms of college football players because that's what we're doing here. We're doing college football. And that's, to change the way that I talked about players that way. If you're a college football program, I guess the draw would be that somebody like DJ Lagway finally achieves their potential, and you're doing the thing where you say, well, no, I can fix him. A change of scenery will be good for him. And if he ends up becoming the kind of player that we think he can be, then it will be a feather in the cap of our program because, hey, we can produce more guys like this. We can give you more opportunities to reach your full potential. So you're kind of trafficking in your ability as a coaching staff to turn him into something that he's not been, which is a consistent player all around. But I guess it depends on the program, because if I'm a coach with security, then maybe I take a chance on somebody like DJ Lagway. If I'm somebody who's fighting for job or fighting for postseason eligibility to get an extension or whatever the case might be, I would want the more proven commodity at the college level, which is Sam Leavitt.
There's kind of a collection of schools that will be on the hunt, you would imagine, for a transfer quarterback. LSU comes to mind. Who is Lane Kiffin going to go out and get to be his quarterback next season? Oh, schools like Baylor, TCU, depending on whether or not Josh Hoover elects to stay at TCU or go into the portal in January. Miami, of course, will probably continue down that path. We know Lenora Sellers is staying at South Carolina. We know now that Arch Manning, by the way, will not enter the NFL draft. It's crazy, right? That that you would have thought before the season started would be one of the most highly anticipated pieces of news that we were going to get after the regular season. What's Arch going to do? Yeah. It's like, oh, he's staying. All right. It's almost just an afterthought. Like, I guess Arch is staying.
Can I ask you, you may not know much about this player, and I really don't either, other than I know North Texas had a good season, and he's not in the transfer portal yet. But the last name is Mestemaker? Drew Mestemaker?
Stay away. Everybody stay away from him. Don't even bring his name up.
What do you?
Because he's following his offensive coordinator to Greenville, USA.
Oh.
Everybody, shut up. He led the stinking country in yards and touchdowns.
I know. He was really good.
Hopefully he'll be really good in purple.
Threw for over 4,000 yards last year at North Texas, and they were viable, certainly. So again, he's not in the portal yet, and Robert is hoping and praying and wishing that he follows his offensive coordinator to ECU. But wouldn't he be somebody that would be interesting as far as, like, I see a lot of these crystal ball things, a lot of think pieces being written at this time of year, and a lot of people are predicting that that's the next guy that Curt Cignetti is going to Curt Cignetti. So what if he goes with me instead of you?
Dude. Can you guys not just let somebody...
Who would you rather play for?
Who would you rather play for? Shut up, dude. Let me have something.
Why?
I can't wait for you guys to stink.
Indiana?
For Curt Smoke a Cignetti to go somewhere else.
That's not going to hurt me personally. I'm just going to go about my life
That's
the way I've always done it.
The worst part, you don't
You
care.
can't hurt me.
I can. Did you guys beat Louisville the week ago?
You mean Kentucky?
Kentucky, did you guys beat
Well,
Kentucky?
we lost to both.
Lost to both.
See, it's not so fun, is it?
It's the only thing I care about. Ruined my entire weekend.
I look at Baylor for DJ Lagway. His dad played there. He's from Texas. He's from a town not far from Waco. That would be interesting. I'm just so fascinated at what the market will be for him. For a guy that is unquestionably the most talented quarterback on the market. And I guess that's kind of a conversation that we had with Nico, right? Yeah. He's the most talented quarterback on the market, but for very different reasons than what we had with Lagway. Nico was disappointing in his own right in that 2024 season. Lagway more up and down. And I don't know what transpired between he and John Summerall and his staff, because he expressed a desire to stay at Florida. I don't know what happened there. It's kind of an odd situation.
Okay, so just to stick on the Baylor guess or projection, Dave Aranda has been at Baylor since COVID.
Yeah, I think they want him fired down there.
Well, isn't DJ Lagway the kind of quarterback that could get you fired? That's why I bring that up.
Yeah, he's also the kind of quarterback that you go get because you need somebody, and that's a big splashy name.
Big risk, big reward.
Sure. I mean, at this point, if you're Dave Aranda, what do you have to lose? You could go 6-6 next year. It's not appeasing anybody. Aranda has not had, well, he went 8-5 last year, lost the Texas Bowl.
He's only got 2 winning seasons, 2021 and 2024.
21 when they won the conference, and that's pre-12-team playoffs, so they didn't get a chance to participate in the CFP. But, yeah, he's 36-37. I think Baylor fans are about done with the Dave Aranda experience.
I thought he was going to be good, so good.
So you're alleging that Baylor fans would like him to be read his Aranda rights?
Yes. That was very good. But Lagway could be a bit of a lifeline for a guy like him with some obvious ties. But again, it just comes back to what the market is. Who does Miami want? Does it start there?
Well, who has the biggest ability to spend? Because the thing that we haven't talked about here is Michigan. Is Underwood going to transfer?
We'll see. I think it'll have a lot to do with who they bring in.
They have so much money. Michigan, and you know, I was listening to Pate. Pate's going to be on with us tomorrow. Lucas is going to fill in for the morning show because Will has a personal situation to attend to. But we are going to talk to Pate about this tomorrow, the Michigan situation potentially improving in a post-Sharon Moore world, and what that looks like exactly, what that means for the current players on the roster, what that means for the quarterback that they just gave, $12 million over multiple years is the reporting around that, and they have the money to spend because that to me dictates it's NFL free agency without a salary cap. Who can spend most on these players? Yeah, I'll go there. Isn't that Carson Bexell thing? Yeah, I'm not going to make as much money in the NFL draft as I would at Miami this year. I'll go there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the conversation for a guy like DJ Lagway and Dylan Raiola and Brendan Sorsby. So what kind of domino effect does that produce as well at certain quarterback situations across college football? I don't know, but the portal doesn't open until January 2nd. There is time here for all of these guys to, make those backdoor connections and to see where they land. once we go into 2026. By the way, there has been a development in the Legend Bay situation. The 4-star athlete, highly rated prospect that signed with Tennessee and did so reportedly against his own wishes, that his mom wanted him at Tennessee, that he wanted to be at Ohio State. According to rivals, according to Ohio State's local rivals, he has reportedly requested that his letter of release from Tennessee so that he can go to Ohio State.
How do you feel about that?
If the guy doesn't want to be there, then let him go. It would have just turned into a disastrous situation. Like, if there's one thing that Josh Heupel, I imagine, does not want this offseason, like if we're going to play a game where maybe we do this, we give a Christmas gift. So Slay does this every year on SEC Network. He gives a Christmas gift to every SEC program, basketball program. If Josh Heupel were to ask for a Christmas gift, I imagine it would be please an offseason with little to no drama. After the Nico thing last year and the Boo Carter thing that developed throughout the summer and ended up bleeding into the regular season with him essentially being removed from the team. If I'm Heupel, I'm like, please, man, just let's keep it simple this offseason.
So all of it was true. He wanted to go to Ohio State, and his mom forged his signature. And
I don't know about the forging. I've seen that, the forging signature part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Because when you talked about it on the balcony with me, you were like, "Yeah, he's going to Tennessee. Doesn't matter. He signed.
No, he celebrated.
You have to come to Tennessee. You signed.
I
You're
did not say that.
You don't get to make the rules. Ha ha ha. You stupid kid.
This is a
You're
fabrication
17.
Have
of the
fun
truth.
catching balls in Knoxville, buddy.
Oh, it's not fun when somebody fabricates the truth about you, is it?
No, I this felt like a recipe for disaster the whole way. It's like, oh, sure. Like, what's the most likely scenario?
3 weeks ago, he didn't care. He said, yeah, we got Legend Bay.
The moment Legend Bay signed and you had all this noise around him, the first thought is, all right, what's the most likely scenario? It's not that he plays happily for 3 to 4 years at the same place in Tennessee. If you're starting your career like that, that's not the most likely scenario. So this is probably best for all parties, that he just goes to Ohio State if that's where he wants to be.
Oh, so you're comparing him to Dakotas Crawford, who went from LSU to Nebraska to...
Where is he now?
I think he was at a directional school? Dakotas?
Louisiana Tech.
Crawford, yes.
He had 2 catches for 17 yards this season.
No.
Oh, no, that was in the 2023 season.
Supposed to say, what?
He hasn't played a snap since the 2023 football season.
He went to somebody else. He went to somebody else, though. I thought maybe he didn't play there either. I just remember him for his delightful HVAC ads. It's like, when you want Dakotas AC,
Oh, no way.
You've got to go.
He's at Butler Community College.
There you go. That's what it was.
Not a directional school, a community school.
Oh, my goodness.
Community is a direction that I'd like to head.
He was at Nebraska and Louisiana Tech and now Butler Community College.
What's Butler Community College's mascot? Is it a bulldog?
No.
It looks like a bear.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is located.
As long as there's alliteration.
What is the most popular mascot? It's got to be a
Tiger.
bear,
No,
right?
it's Tiger.
It has to be Tiger.
Yeah, of
but
course it's a
I will
tiger.
Google this just for
I mean, of course it's a
clarification.
tiger. Why are you saying, of course it's a tiger?
Are you talking about in all of college
In
sports,
all of college
high school
sports.
sports?
It's Tiger. It's so obviously Tiger. No, what bears are there besides the Baylor Bears? Name
Cal
another
Bears.
Bears.
Aren't the Cal,
All right.
Cal Golden, Bears?
All right,
Golden
name
Bears.
another one then.
Like
Missouri State. They're the Bears.
they're the Bears.
Okay, name another one.
UCLA
then.
are the Bruins,
And they are bears.
that doesn't count.
Okay, name another one.
Like
then.
there's as many Tigers as we just named Bears in the SEC alone. Missouri, LSU, Auburn.
Okay, Auburn's
You get to pick
screwed.
one.
We can
Like,
go out to Clemson.
Okay,
Maine.
you're wrong.
Maine are the Bears.
You're wrong, Lucas.
Oh, is it
You're-
Bulldog?
You're wrong. I just want to let you know in front. You're wrong.
Okay.
It's
What
the
is it?
Bulldog.
It's Bulldog. Okay.
He said, of course it's the Tigers.
I thought it would be obvious.
That's because
Big
you're
Cats.
SEC bias. You're just thinking about the conference that you care about, and you're shunning every other.
Very unoriginal mascot either way, the Tiger.
And also, a bulldog is a slap in the face to God. Like that's not a real dog. That's
Those
not.
things are hideous.
They're adorable.
can barely breathe.
No, they're
Like,
not adorable.
I
They're
love-
science experiments.
I love Bulldogs.
their entire existence is.
Do you
is-
love the suffering of animals? Because those things are genetically engineered. Mutants.
Have you ever been around one?
Yeah, they're disgusting.
My stepdad had a dog. It was not a bulldog, but it was a pug which are also science experiments. And all day, all you can hear is, ha, 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 ha. They can't breathe.
And they're
They
stupid.
Struggle. Dude, so dumb.
stupid.
So dumb. Very soft ears, though. Very soft ears.
I've met a lot of very happy bulldogs.
Yeah, because they don't know any better. They're idiots. They don't know they can't breathe.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance, that's my motto.
Bulldogs.
Coming up next, speaking of Louisville, they are a good basketball team. Tennessee hosts them tonight. We'll get into that. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. All of their Middle Tennessee locations open for business. Check them out. Get some hot chicken to warm up on a chilly December day. So, Vols looking to break a 3-game losing streak, and they're not going to have the easiest time of it hosting Louisville, who is a very good college basketball team, tonight at the Food City Center Arena, if I'm pronouncing that or saying that correctly. How do you feel? Because there's not a lot of, I don't know, I don't feel confident about a lot of these SEC basketball teams before we've gotten into conference play, and it feels like it's just going to be a bit of a mess once we do finally get into conference play after the new year. But Tennessee on a 3-game losing streak, where are we on the problems that they're having and how rectifiable they are, if that's a word?
Well, this game feels huge, right? Tennessee obviously had the high of beating Houston, one of the better non-conference wins of the Rick Barnes era.
Agreed.
And then to lose to Kansas, Syracuse, and Illinois after that. This is your last opportunity for a quality non-conference win. Like
Well, Syracuse, I don't know how I feel about them this year, but they're not a good basketball team. That was a bad loss by Tennessee. Mm-hmm. The other two, though, those are not terrible losses.
Yeah, Kansas at this point has climbed back into the top 20. Illinois is a good basketball team. I'm with you. Syracuse is by far the worst of those, and you had to go up there and, it's a tough road trip and all of that. But that game absolutely was in your grasp. Free throws crushed you in that game. But, to answer your question, there's a lot that needs to get better. I think outside of Jacoby Gillespie, Tennessee is just not getting enough from the likes of Nate Amen right now. Their rebounding hasn't been good enough. Jalen Carey has been a spark off the bench, but they're just not a cohesive unit at the moment. And there's a lot of things that should be controllable. There are things that I feel like should bail you out in moments like that. Even if you're struggling and you're learning how to play together, like offensively, the ball is going to run through Jacoby Gillespie and Nate Amen 90% of the time. And those guys are still learning how to play together. So it's understandable that there's an adjustment period there. And this is a tough stretch of opponents Tennessee is playing. But in those moments, you got to be able to rely on things like free throw shooting. And Tennessee is a bottom 5 team in the SEC right now. They're shooting 72.7% from the line. They're bottom 3 in the SEC, bottom 4 rather, in free throws attempted per game. So they're not getting to the line enough. And those are just some of the controllables, I feel like, that you should be able to rely on, even when you're not coming together as a unit, especially offensively. So Cade Phillips out for the year. That hurts. Tennessee does have a lot of bodies, a lot of talent in the front court. And talent really is not an issue with this team whatsoever. Rick Barnes almost seems somewhat baffled at the way his team is playing right now, saying that, yeah, we're doing it in practice. It's just not translating to games. You'd like to see some form of leadership emerge here over the course of the next couple of months, but it's hard to overstate how important this game feels, because if you lose against Louisville, who's a good team, number 11 team in the country, they've got quality wins under their belt. They're coming into Knoxville. If you lose that game, beating Gardner-Webb and South Carolina State is not going to wash the taste out of that 4-game losing streak heading into SEC play, where, by the way, you open at Arkansas to play John Calipari and the Razorbacks on the 3rd day of the new year. 6 o'clock is the tip-off. Vol Network coverage on The Zone will be joined in progress at the start of the second half, where you can hear Mike Keith and Chris Lofton. But, yeah, huge opportunity for Tennessee after a little 10-day break to kind of get right following the Illinois loss here in Nashville.
Louisville, just in terms of what they excel at, they're the number 10 team in KenPom overall in terms of the net rating. Their adjusted offensive efficiency is second best in the country, behind only Purdue.
And where's Tennessee in that? Can you see?
Tennessee is not there.
You got to scroll a little bit.
Yeah, I might have to scroll a little bit. I can find that for you. I might have to Control F my way through the KenPom rankings. They are way down between Kentucky and Butler with a adjusted offensive efficiency rating of 119.1. So that would rank them, yeah, they're definitely outside of the top 25. They are outside of the top 30. They're about 37th.
Yeah, you'd like to see Nate Amen start to grow into the season a little bit and grow into some confidence. His shooting numbers have not been good. Ironically, he is one that tends to make his free throws, but from the floor, it's been rough. 4 of 14 against Illinois, 0 for 3 from the three-point line, 2 of 10 against Syracuse, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc, 5 of 15 against Kansas, even against Houston. Ament was not a big part of that. He was 1 of 8 from the floor in that performance. So some physicality, some confidence is something you'd like to see from Nate Ament in a game like this. Just that last opportunity for a signature non-conference win if you want to kind of climb back into the picture of being a highly seeded team in March.
The job that Louisville has done getting that program right after, everything that happened with the Patino stuff and the suspensions and kind of working their way through the downtimes, 9-1 to start the season. They're doing it against quality opponents so far this season in an ACC that looks pretty tough so far. I know everybody's like working their way through the non-conference cupcakes and things like that. And then, you have the Big Ten, the conference versus conference challenges and things like that. So you've gotten some good matchups. Louisville has done it against a handful of good teams. I don't know if Kentucky's good. Kentucky did not look like a good basketball team that beat Indiana on Saturday. Indiana just turned it over in waves in the second half. It was disgusting to watch that. Louisville has a win over Kentucky. I don't know how good Kentucky actually is, but that's one of those jobs, or that's one of those games for Mark Pope. I'm sure he's just breathing a little easier afterwards because he's had a fair amount of pressure on him so far. Tennessee is favored at home by 2.5, but I wouldn't feel great about that. We don't know what Tennessee's going to look like given the long layoff, so I would assume that Rick Barnes is going to have them ready to go, especially against a team at home where they are currently undefeated, 5-0. Louisville has not won a game away from home so far this season. It's their only loss of the season.
Barnes said yesterday that he is going to start true freshman Dwayne Brown against Louisville. Dwayne Brown the second, a 6'8", 250-pound freshman from Hoover, Alabama, who, has shown some glimpses in limited minutes. He stepped in and gave some good minutes against Syracuse. 5 rebounds in that game, 9 minutes against Illinois where he had 5 points, 2 for 2 from the floor, a couple of offensive boards. So opportunity for him as Cade Phillips is out for the year. And again, Jalen Carey, the Vanderbilt transfer, has probably been, outside of Jacoby Gillespie, the most impressive of the newcomers. Gillespie, I think, is going to be Tennessee's best player throughout the course of the year. No question about it. But big opportunity for Nate Ament, for this team to put together some sort of cohesiveness at home, too. They haven't played in front of a home crowd during this stretch, which I think we take into account, right? Apart from the Houston game, which they won in Vegas. They played Kansas in Vegas. They played Syracuse on the road. They played Illinois at Bridgestone Arena, where obviously you have more of a favorable crowd.
It's still not a home game.
Yeah, everything feels different. The dimensions of the building, the floor you're playing in, it's not an excuse. You have to win away from home. March Madness is not played at home, but it will be a little more advantageous for them to just get right in Thompson-Boling Arena.
No, I mean, it matters more in college basketball, I would argue, than any other sport, like home court advantage, because you're still dealing at the end of the day with 18, 19, 20-year-olds. The variance that you have in a sport like this. By the way, people in the chat, FNM Bank chat, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, who are asking about where Vanderbilt ranks. Vanderbilt currently 10-0 to start the season. Their non-conference schedule is garbage, other than SMU, who
they're
is a
13th right now, Vandy.
Decent team. In KenPom, they are 11th in adjusted offensive efficiency. They are 4th in the country behind Purdue, Louisville, Illinois. Those are the 3.
They go to Memphis tomorrow, which could be interesting. Memphis has not had a good start to their season. They just got routed by Louisville 3 days ago. But Vandy goes to Memphis and goes to Wake Forest in their next couple of games. Real chance to be undefeated going into SEC play, Vanderbilt.
We haven't talked about the Titans today, but Titans coordinators are speaking. We'll do a little bit of Titans talk and ask you. You can chime in on this if you want to. 615-737-1045. How many coaches, if any, from the current Titans coaching staff would you want the next head coach to consider keeping? I've got a list of people that I think deserve it. We can talk about it coming up next.
12:01. Good afternoon from the Circa Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Nashville Predators won in St. Louis on Monday 5-2. Philip Forsberg with a hat trick. The Preds come back home to host the Hurricanes tomorrow night at Bridgestone Arena. On Monday Night Football, the Steelers 28, Dolphins 15. Aaron Rodgers 23 of 27 for 224 and 2 touchdowns as the Steelers improved to 8-6, and they are at the top of the AFC North. The Dolphins eliminated from the postseason. In college football news yesterday, more high-profile quarterbacks announcing their intent to enter the transfer portal, which opens after the new year. They include Dylan Raiola of Nebraska, Florida quarterback DJ Lagway, Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt, and Notre Dame quarterback Kenny Minchie, a Nashville product of Pope John Paul II. Tennessee basketball comes out of a 10-day break today. They host number 11 Louisville at Thompson Bowling Arena. Tip-off at 6 p.m. Vol Network coverage will be joined in progress right here on The Zone at the start of the second half. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Titans coaching search is ongoing. They're putting together a list of candidates. They're setting themselves up for the interview process that really is not that far in the future. And in fact, I would expect in a month from now, maybe a little more, we will know who the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans is going to be. Welcome back for the final hour of the radio show. We appreciate your participation as always, whether you're hanging out with us on the F&M Bank Chat, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can live stream the show. If you're hanging out on YouTube, like the video while you're there. Subscribe to the channel. Robert, you just posted our visit with Vanderbilt Athletic Director Candace Story-Lee, which, if you missed it, was really good, even though we were wildly unprepared because it's Lucas's fault. And we look forward to being able to visit with her again, despite just general incompetence around that interview.
Accountability, something you need to work on.
Many people are saying. Accountability is something that will soon come for the current Titans coaching staff. They have been dreadful over the course of the last 2 seasons. There are some people who have changed pieces and parts there, and obviously Brian Callahan has already been fired for many, many weeks now. We've had many more games. Actually, how many more games of Mike McCoy have we had than Brian Callahan? 2?
Oh, yeah, I guess they've played in 14.
He got fired week 6.
Callahan coached in 5, right?
He coached in 6 because they didn't have a bye. They didn't have a bye till week 10.
Right, but wasn't the Patriots game the week 6 game?
No,
was it
week 7.
Okay.
Week 6 was Vegas.
Okay.
So we've had, 8 games of McCoy,
Yes.
6 games of Callahan so far this season, and fair to expect.
Callahan feels like it was so long ago that Brian Callahan was the head coach of the
This
Titans.
football season will not end. But soon it will all be over, and we can get into the offseason, which is the Titans' actual season, because they don't win football games lately. But as you look at the staff, currently, Mike McCoy is the interim head coach. Nick Holtz is the offensive coordinator. Bo Hardigree is the play caller. Denard Wilson is the defensive coordinator. John Bones Fossil as the special teams coordinator. I don't know how many more names on the Titans coaching staff your average Titans fan could name. Because Bill Callahan is obviously gone as the offensive line coach. That's now Scott Fuchs and Matt Jones. Yes, you have thoughts?
No?
You're going to be immature about the offensive line coaches
Just
last
making
night?
sure you said it right.
I sure did. I don't know how many people could name. I'm sure people know Tyke Tolbert, the wide receivers coach. I'm sure people could name most of the position coaches. But as a Titans fan, you out there in the world, 615-737-1045, is there a coach, maybe you have multiple, but is there a coach more than any others that you would like to see return on the Titans coaching staff? Because I feel like most people would have the same answer.
Yeah, everybody's going to say the same person here.
John Fossil, as the special teams coach, has been excellent. He is one of the most experienced in his job, which is the complete opposite of what Colt Anderson was, who, by the way, was on the Niners sideline. Colt Anderson still working in football, the fired Titans special teams coach last year. As you look at the rest of this, though, I do think there's an argument to be made for Denard Wilson. Now, I know his defense didn't have a good showing against the Niners on Sunday, but if we're keeping recency bias out of it and just taking the job that he's actually done with the players that he doesn't actually have besides Jeff Simmons, it will depend on what the background of the next head coach is. But I think there's an argument to be made for Denard Wilson, who's currently under contract.
I mean, there's an argument to be made that Denard has done about as good a job as he can with what tools he's been given or what tools have been taken from him throughout the process, whether due to injury or the trade deadline. But it just doesn't happen that much.
No.
Right? It just, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a recent example of a new coach coming in, especially to change a struggling organization and move it into the right direction and retain one of the most key components of a coaching staff in one of the previous coordinators. It would just be very surprising if Denard Wilson is retained. John Bones Fossil,
less surprising.
Less surprising, because if John Bones Fossil was out there on the active market, he would immediately be the best candidate for your special teams job. So if he's in-house, then there will be, I wonder if there will be a push from the organization with whatever coach they hire to keep Bones in-house with the job that he's done with Chimere Dike, with that unit as a whole.
Depends on how much he's paying attention.
Yeah. Another one I would have is Frank Bush.
I would agree. I was going to say two guys on the roster, actually, or on the coaching staff. I might even make the argument for three.
Yeah, I would add. I think I know who you're adding.
Tracy Rocker, defensive line coach.
Oh, okay. I was going to say someone else, but go on.
Frank Bush, linebackers coach. And I would make the argument for Steve Jackson, the safeties coach.
I was going to say Luke Stocker with the job that he's done with the tight ends.
Well, I'm sorry. I was just keeping it defense under Denard.
Okay.
Stocker I'm in on too.
Well, that's not going to happen. Like, Denard Wilson and 3 or 4 assistant coaches aren't going to be retained. Like, it's just not, again, it just doesn't happen. But I don't know. I'd love to know more on what kind of the average retention rate is.
Oh, I'm sure it's less than
very, very low.
So I'm not saying that I think that these people will be kept. Let me clarify. I think that I could make an argument for Tracy Rocker. Jeff Simmons has been his career best. Now, a huge part of that is Jeff. Like, Jeff changed himself physically in the offseason. Tracy Rocker's a very experienced defensive line coach, somebody who's been here, somebody who knows Jeff, who gets Jeff and Sweat. And that, I think, is important for not just Jeffrey, but for Sweat. I could make an argument for Frank Bush, who's done a really good job with Cedric Gray. I could make an argument for Steve Jackson, who I think has done a good job with Kevin Winston. I could make an argument for Tyke Tolbert, who is, you want to talk about chicken salad out of chicken bleep? Tyke Tolbert has no receivers to work with, okay? And DK and Iamaner's hit or miss. It feels like a week-to-week proposition. But Tyke Tolbert is a very experienced wide receivers coach. I think he's done a nice job.
Now we're just campaigning for the entire staff to stay put. Just switch
I don't
out,
think it's their fault.
Switch out the head coach.
Okay, but seriously.
It might not be their fault.
Like,
I agree with you. These are good coaches that we're talking about.
But, like, let's think about the roster, okay? The roster is young. The coaching staff is really not. Like, the assistants and position guys are very experienced. If you're talking about trying to maintain some semblance of good with people who have worked with this young roster and done well with this well enough, given the circumstance, Stocker, Tolbert, Rocker, and Frank Bush, I think, are all viable people to consider. I'm not saying that these people are definitively getting kept. I'm saying I could make an argument for all of them.
Sure, and it sounds all well and good, and I agree with you that those names you've listed have all, to varying degrees, done good jobs this year with the people in their respective position room, but it's just not realistic.
I don't think it's realistic. I think maybe of the 8 names that I just named, I bet 1.
2? Yeah.
2, maybe.
Like
2 tops.
John Bones Fossil.
I almost put him to the side. Like, I'm just assuming he's bad.
Yeah, he has an argument to be the best special teams coordinator in the NFL. Luke Stocker is an interesting one because he was here as an offensive assistant in Vrabel's last year. Obviously played under Vrabel. Is a Tennessee guy in that he went to school at Tennessee. Not that that matters, but he just has great familiarity with the organization. And he's kind of worked his way up and has worked with a young core of players. Chigakonkwo, who's still in his rookie deal. I know the last year of it, but Gunnar Helm, who's had some really nice moments in his rookie season. So if we were to narrow it down to 2 or 3, I think we would talk about John Bones Fossil, Luke Stalker, and somebody like Frank Bush. That would be a veteran coach, especially if the Titans go a younger route. Would be a veteran coach on that staff that also has had a pretty big hand in developing Cedric Gray, who's having a breakout season.
I think you would also have to be cautiously optimistic to add anyone on defense, because if one coordinator was going to get signed to go be a defensive coordinator somewhere else or a coordinator somewhere else, it would be Denard Wilson. And you would argue that he would probably take some of his staff to go do such. So I don't think that Nick Holtz is getting a job and he's going to take Luke Stalker with him or somebody, right? But to say
Nick Holtz has the least amount of
equity on
juice,
this team,
equity, responsibility, arguably. Like, respectfully to Nick, who is a fine person, he shouldn't have been the Titans' offensive coordinator here.
Right.
That's a buddy hire. Like, that's the thing that people, that's the Vrabel Downing thing. That's the definition of it.
But say Anthony Weaver got a head coaching job, say Jesse Minter got a head coaching job, and the Chargers or the Dolphins called Denard and was like, hey, we'd love for you to come coach our defense. He's probably taking a large amount of these guys with him. Like you would say, for all of the guys you named that are good at their jobs, you think he would want to keep some familiarity around him. So like Frank Bush, Steven Jackson, Tracy Rocker, I would assume 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 of those guys would follow him to a new destination.
Somebody on YouTube asks, why would Bones choose to stay? He may not. He may ask out. He may say, no, I'm good here. He may have to leave money on the table to do it because they all just signed contract extensions heading into the season. So I don't know how he feels about living in Nashville and uprooting again because he's got a family. His kids would probably be older. He's been around for a long time at this point, so I don't know how tethered to Nashville he is. A lot of people have to think about kids in school and stuff like that. If you're a younger coach, that's obviously not Bones. He could say, no, I want to actually win and go somewhere where they have the promise of winning. Right now, I don't think that anybody's anticipating a Patriots-like turnaround in Tennessee.
Can we keep Ben Bloom?
I like Ben a lot.
He's my favorite.
And you want to talk about somebody who's trying to do his job with nothing? They got nothing.
They don't even have the second-round pick on the field.
Right.
Ben Bloom is just kind of throwing his hands up in the air. I'm blanking on his name.
Defensive player?
Famous comedian that he looks like.
Oh.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Looks like Seth Rogen before he lost the weight. Ben Bloom.
My favorite story about Ben Bloom is while he was coaching at Harvard, he was also a bouncer at a bar. I love that aesthetic. Like coaching Harvard athletes, and then also at 2:30, you're at a bar being like, "Get out of here, buddy! You can't stay here, and you got to go home." Like, see you later.
Ben's the man. But yeah, I can't imagine that. He's like, I don't think anybody's going to be pounding the table for Ben Bloom.
It's kind of crazy.
He's not a bad coach.
No, he's got. This is his 17th year coaching in the NFL. The dude looks like he's our age.
Well, that's not true.
Have
you seen him in person?
Yes. Of course I have. How else would I know my favorite Ben Bloom story? I don't even think I can tell it until he's gone. How old do you think he is?
I bet Ben Bloom is, it's like Bowen. Bowen looks like 10 years older than he actually is. I bet Ben Bloom is 37.
40 tree.
Okay.
That's not bad.
I also laughed when Candace Story Lee was, laughed internally when Candace Story Lee was talking about Diego Pavia being a young person and he's 3 years younger than Lucas.
How old is he?
He's 3 years younger than her.
26.
Is he? He's 26.
Isn't he?
Then he would be 4 years younger than me, unfortunately.
Oh, you're part of the Dirty 30.
He is 23. Where did you get your information?
He is actually 17 years old.
He's only 23?
He can't rent a car. He is indeed a young person.
He's not allowed to go see a rated R movie without a written express
maybe
from his parents.
Maybe that was just like a joke thing that said Pavia was 26. I mean, there's 25-year-old quarterbacks. How old's Shuck?
You just read the chat and took it as fact.
Shuck is 33. The oldest drafted
Shuck is actually 55. Anyway, I think there's a compelling case to be made for a handful of these coaches. I do think it's also going to be telling to see how much sway the new coach is given. Because if the new coach says, no, I have my own special teams guy, Are the Titans going to be like, okay, bud, it's your job now? Or are they going to be, well, no, we need you to keep this guy. We know what this looks like. And we know we said we'd give you some level of control here, but not actually, not on your staff. No, we don't think so. And everybody would understand the argument for that. But that's going to be a curious thing to see how that plays out here in about a month. All right, Jason Fitz coming up next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Jason Fitz. I'm not sure what Fitzy's the best at. He's the best at playing the violin among sports talk radio personalities. Is that a good enough thing for you to hang your hat on at this point? What would you say you're the best at, Fitzy?
I mean, maybe. Look, come on, Buck. I mean, I've only gone downhill my entire life. I got into Juilliard when I was 10. I played Carnegie Hall when I was 10 years old. Like I've only gotten worse at everything I've done. So I think I was probably really good at sports talk when I started, and now I'm just a hack out there making it. I don't know. I'm the best at carrying you once a week. I do that.
You couldn't even do that on Saturday. You tapped out.
Sick day. Yeah.
Yeah, sick day. It's nonsense. You're probably sitting on. Well, I guess you're in Connecticut, so you're not sitting on a beach somewhere. But
God, I wish.
What's the best? I mean, is Carnegie Hall the best venue you've ever played, or maybe your most accomplished venue that you've ever played?
So Carnegie Hall has special meaning because I played it as a kid, and that's what got me into Juilliard. I think Madison Square Garden, just because I went there. Once I got into Juilliard as a kid, I used to go to Madison Square Garden all the time. I'd keep my lunch money because we were broke as a kid, so I would keep my lunch money, and my parents didn't know. I'd keep it all in my pocket, and then on Saturdays after like all my lessons, I would go to the Garden and just offer scalpers whatever I have to try and get in. So when the band Perry played Madison Square Garden, it was sold out. That's part of the reason that's one of my tattoos on my right arm is the logo to the Garden, because it was cool for me to stand on stage and be like, hey, I remember, watching a Rangers game from there and a Knicks game from there. Like that was a very transformative moment for me. So I think the Garden's probably the specialist place for me personally. But yes, Carnegie Hall is probably the number one place on a resume.
Most famous person you ever crossed paths with at Juilliard?
Really not a lot, because I was honestly, I was a kid. So there's and you guys wouldn't know most of these people anyway, but there is a violinist named Joshua Bell that had a lesson right after. I studied with a really renowned violinist, a violin teacher, Dorothy DeLay, and he had a lesson right after me for a while. So he was world renowned. So it's funny because here I was, a 12-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid, and I'm like, I'm making it. I'm at Juilliard. And it's like then Joshua Bell at 11 or 12 years old was playing for the Queen of England and making six figures. So like, it's funny that, even when I was practicing 8 hours a day as a kid, I was the lazy one. So Juilliard's a very isolated place. So not a lot of fame at Juilliard for me.
Jason Fitz, Yahoo Sports Daily is where you can watch him on a regular basis. He'll show up for that job. Fox Sports Radio is where you can find him from 5 to 6.
I took Sunday off, too. I missed my fantasy football show Sunday, too. I'm full weekend off. Weekend off.
Okay, lovely for you to just take a weekend off in the middle of football season. I'm very happy for you.
You go to Miami. I mean, go ahead.
That's the bye week. That's different. That is my week off. 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time is where you can hear him on Fox Sports Radio. So we got through the weekend without college football in large part. I know we had the Cricket Celebration Bowl and the Boise State-Washington game and things like that. Of the two primary first-round college football playoff games, Alabama and Oklahoma, do you think that this is a situation in which Alabama gets right? Because there seems to be, and I don't know how much you pay attention to the betting markets on this, Fitzy, people seem to like Oklahoma to do the thing again.
Which is interesting to me only because Oklahoma hasn't looked like themselves. I know Alabama, wants some moments back late in the season. The last month of the season, they weren't really Alabama football. But once Mateer hurt his hand, the Oklahoma offense just got stagnant. It got weird. It got difficult. They haven't had a lot of rhythm offensively. They've had trouble sustaining drives. I feel like this is honestly a pretty coin toss sort of game. But we're going to have to see way better from Simpson, who we all know is also battling through his own stuff. We're going to have to see way better from the Alabama offense for me to have a lot of confidence. I think this is an electric game that really comes down to which quarterback is able to make the most of what's been a very weird season. If I had to bet my house, I think I would probably lean Alabama, but this is a toss-up of a game.
Jason Fitz of Yahoo Sports Daily here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Miami or Texas A&M? Which on shakier ground right now as we head into this first weekend?
Miami is on shaky ground. I know that we've glossed over. There are certain narratives that exist for no reason, and then there are narratives that exist for a good reason. And the narrative of Miami, oh my God, the ACC sucks. There's a reason that narrative existed. And Miami, while I won't say that they suck, I mean, Carson Beck he's still Carson Beck. Like, this is still a quarterback that puts the ball at risk all over the place. And even if you go back to the win that Miami had early in the season over Notre Dame that people make such a big deal about, there are a couple couple catches there that I thought could have easily been picked by Notre Dame. Miami is fine. Miami is fine, but they are not going to be fine in this game. I honestly think Miami is up to get bludgeoned.
Jason Fitz with us of Yahoo Sports. So between Tulane and James Madison, Fitzy, which team has a better opportunity to make this a game at halftime?
Neither.
Neither.
I respect the question so much, and I think Tulane has some talent, but man, neither of these teams belong in the college football playoff. And that's just being honest. Like, I get that we're not always going to get 12 best, and sometimes circumstances exist, but this is such a bad blow for the group of five, because last year, first year in, we still had a Boise State team that belonged in the college football playoff with Ashton Genty, and everybody wanted to see what that looked like against great competition. All these different narratives we can find. There is not, and I don't care if you're Stretch Armstrong, you can't find a narrative to stretch that allows either of these teams to be competitive. You can't find a narrative that stretches that allows either of these teams to belong in the college football playoff. Like, call it like it is. We didn't even get the top 16, 20. I don't think we got the top 25. I genuinely believe that Tulane and James Madison, and I went back and watched a bunch of their games before anybody says, you didn't watch the. No, I went back and watched a bunch of it. I'm a glutton for punishment. And in the process of watching it, I kept thinking, this is not even a mid-level SEC football team. I honestly believe the committee felt pressure to put teams in the top 25 just so that it was not an unranked group of five team. That's the only way I can excuse that they even got to where they are. They're both going to get absolutely hammered. This is the biggest problem that the favorites will have in this game is maintaining focus and not looking past their first round opponent in the college football playoff.
Doesn't it make it all the more insane that Cincinnati got into the 4-team field as a team out of the American, Fitz? That feels like a bygone era. That playoff, that was 4 years ago?
Was that Luke Fickell's last year there?
Luke, I believe so. But the Sauce Gardner team, Desmond Ridder, it feels like that season that we are as far removed from that as we are like the BCS era. That feels like it was ages ago.
But that's the great hope, right? Cincinnati can get into a 14 playoff. Boise State, I think, belonged in a 12-team playoff, right? Like, there are, for anyone that says, well, if you close these loopholes, the group of five isn't included. No, they can still be included. And frankly, in modern college football, if the group of five wants to be included, go spend the money. You want to keep your team together, go raise the NIL. Like, this is such a capitalistic moment in college football history. You want to go spend it and go spend the money. So I don't think we need to, to me, it's the ultimate participation award that we sit there and say, no, we're going to find a way to get the group of five in this thing. Well, why? What other venture are we sitting here? And I know Joel Klatt blew up for what he said about the NCAA tournament, but
Idiot. He should have. Absolute idiocy. I don't know Joe Klatt. I don't care about Joe Klatt. He just shut up. He has so many loud, stupid opinions on a regular basis.
And I think what he's missing is it's one thing to me to allow hey, we're going to make sure everybody gets into this thing because there's 66 teams in it, whatever. That makes sense in my mind. When there's 12, if you're just coming in and giving a pity bid, I don't understand why anybody accepts it. I don't understand why anybody wants it. I get that Tulane and James Madison want the money. I get that they want the shine. They want to sell some gear. It's great for the program for popularity until you go out there and you get beat 56-0. These games are going to be slaughters.
If you are Mario Cristobal and Miami and you're looking for the next in this series of transfer quarterbacks to play out their last or second to last year of college football, who's more appealing between DJ Lagway and Dylan Raiola?
Okay, so Lagway is such an epic disappointment in his play. Raiola is just a lot of personality. I'll say it gently that way, right? And also Raiola, they've made a big deal about, what did he go to, 6 different high schools? My God. Then he committed to 3 different colleges before he decided on Nebraska. If you're bringing in Raiola, you think that you can one season fix him, and you think that you can work him into your locker room the right way. He's just, and he's not a bad dude from anything I've heard. It's just he's one of those guys that's just kind of, I'm saying it politely, kind of annoying, right? So, if I could choose between the two, the interesting thing is I've seen Lagway play poorly. So I got to believe I can fix that. But I do believe in the potential of Lagway more than I believe in the potential of Raiola. And I'm not bringing in somebody in Lagway that I believe could end up just being a thorn in my side in the locker room.
The Heisman Trophy was awarded over the weekend, Fitzy. Fernando Mendoza at Indiana ends up winning it. He's the first Indiana player to ever win the Heisman Trophy, Indiana being the number 1 overall seed in the college football playoffs, still an insanity. Diego Pavia loses by a wide margin. Why do you think there was such a disparity? Because he didn't even win the South region, Pavia, in terms of the voting. Why do you think there was such a disparity in this year's Heisman vote, and do you think the voters got it right?
I do not have a Heisman vote. If I did have a Heisman vote, I would have voted for Pavia to be the winner, to be clear, because I think, it's no different. I do and have for many years had a Grammy vote. And, sometimes the Grammys get argumentative about how much impact means to a voter. To me, impact means a lot. So if you go all the way back to, Taylor Swift with the Red Album or whatever, these are not records that maybe high quality musicians are sitting here and say, well, that's a Grammy record, right? But to me, if you can't tell the story of a year in music without talking about somebody's art, that's Grammy worthy to me. That means something. It means you impacted society. You can't tell the story of this season without talking about what Pavia particularly did for Vanderbilt football. And the fact is, yes, Mendoza very deserving and absolutely deserving of all the shine he's getting with Indiana. And I think we've been slow to hop on the Indiana train. But this isn't the first year of greatness we've seen from Indiana. It's now 2 years in a row. This is they're just mitigating portions of this. To me, Pavia is the biggest story of the college football of the Heisman finalists when you talk about greatness. So if I'm using that as a tiebreaker, I would have given it to him. That being said, I have no problem with Mendoza getting it. I think when you are the number 1 team in the country, and this is the biggest thing, they changed the voting timeline. So for the first time, you could not vote anymore before the Big Ten championship game. So the biggest thing I think everybody saw is Mendoza take that first hit on the opening drive of the Big Ten championship game, get knocked a you-know-what out, and then come back out and still have that game against a defense that many people regard as one of the best we've seen in the last 20 years in college football. That was the Heisman moment. So unfortunately for Pavia, front of mind in a big moment, that I understand why Mendoza won it. I also think the way that Pavia reacted to it is absolutely unforgivable, and the way that he reacted to not losing it is absolutely something that he deserves every ounce of egg that has come on his face for. It is absolutely an embarrassment to the program, to the person, to college football. He's handled all of it wrong since then. So I look at it and say, man, you could have handled that with grace and class and forever been remembered differently. Now Diego Pavia's name will, one way or the other, elicit an emotional response from a lot of people for a long time. That's not a positive one.
Yeah, it's wannabe Manziel type stuff. So you are a fan of the Las Vegas Raiders. They are going to have the number 1 overall pick in the draft, it seems, at this point in time. What do you mean,
They got the Giants the day after Christmas. The Giants at home.
You're worse
the day
than
after
the Giants.
Christmas.
You're worse.
Oh,
than
yeah.
the
No.
Giants.
The Giants are a better football team. I just don't know. If I'm the Giants, am I playing anybody? I don't know. I think the Giants win by 2 touchdowns, but I've got very little faith. Very little faith, Buck. Plus, this will only be the second time in my life the Raiders have had the first pick if they get it. And the last time it was Jamarcus. So, I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. But yes, we could have the first pick in the draft. Yes.
Okay, so let's assume in this hypothetical through 3 more weeks of NFL football that you do end up with the number 1 overall pick. Would you want Mendoza?
Yes, 100%. And this is what I would do if I could today to Mark Davis and Tom Brady make a PowerPoint presentation. And Titans fans, the answer is not that much different than what I've said about your organization too. I would go to Mark Davis and I would say, okay, step number 1. I need you to say the word rebuild publicly so the entire world acknowledges that you acknowledge that this team and franchise has been just buried into the ground for the last 20 years. I need you to say we are rebuilding publicly. Step number 2, I need you to give every single person in the building that you intend to see this rebuild through a 5-year contract at least, because that screams to everybody you are gonna see this thing through and you are not going to get impatient. Step number 3, I'm going to draft a quarterback. The Titans just did that with Cam Ward. Step number 4, I am going to spend every available dollar and draft pick I possibly have for the next 2 years on both lines, offensive and defensive, because the secret to the Lions and the Eagles and even the Chiefs when they were good, the secret to the best teams is rarely just the quarterback. The secret to the best teams is, can you win the line of scrimmage? If you want to look at why the Eagles aren't as good this year as they were last year, because the fat guys up front aren't as good. So I'm spending every dollar, every draft pick, and I am literally only signing and drafting every single person I can that's an interior offensive lineman, a tackle, and anywhere on the defensive line, and that is how I'm starting my rebuild.
The value of an owner publicly coming out and saying that, because obviously that's not what Amy has done. She doesn't say anything publicly. She speaks in statements, and now she's not even doing that at this point in time. I wonder, because she has had people on her behalf messaging to that point, but it just, to you, it would mean more from Mark Davis himself.
So this is how if I owned the Tennessee Titans tomorrow, if Jason Fitz was the owner of the Tennessee Titans, I would walk out to a podium and I would say, Nashville, Tennessee, number one, I want you to know I have failed. Not everybody else, me. I have failed because we've been bad for so long. This is on me, and I'm going to get it right. But in order to get it right, I'm going to have to rip it all the way down to the studs. We are going to have to acknowledge today that we do not have the necessary pieces as a roster to compete with the best in the world. And if the goal is truly to win Super Bowls, we are light years away from competing against the best teams in the NFL. And the only way we solve that is to painfully admit that we let it get out of control and then to fix it. So here are the people I've hired. Here's the new infrastructure. Here's the way everybody will report to everybody. Here's why we've hired the people. I am going to give them all 5 years to get this thing right. And if I disappear in that process, it's because I don't want my feelings to get in the way of what I think are smart people doing smart business. Buck, I believe if Amy Adams Strunk or Mark Davis or the Haslams, any owner of a bad team, Woody Johnson, any owner actually stood up and said that to their fans, the level of respect they would get from the fans, the level of buy-in they would get from the fans, the level of understanding. Like, owners in the modern NFL refuse to acknowledge the fact that we are a smarter fan base than we have ever been before. And as a result, we have more information than we've ever had before. You got to be honest, real, and transparent. And if just one owner would do that, I honestly think season ticket sales would go up for the Titans if they admitted where they are and then explained to everybody how they were getting out of it instead of coach speaking cliches.
Well, I would even take coach speaking cliches at this point. Instead, they're just hiding. It seems. Jason Fitz.
But whoever takes that job is going to stand up and say, I'm excited about the history and I'm excited about Cam Ward, and we're going to turn this thing around today. And we're going to hear that. I want once a coach to come in and say, you know what? This thing is just beat to hell. I have no idea how I'm going to fix it, but I'm going to put in the work. And here are the things we're going to try and accomplish. I honestly think fans would respond way more to that than they would to essentially a grown man with pom-poms giving me a cheerleader speech.
Yeah, I would love to live in that world, but I don't think that's the reality of the NFL. Jason Fitz, at Jason Fitz is where you follow him. Facebook, Yahoo Sports Daily is where you can watch him on a regular basis. Fox Sports Radio on Saturdays with me. We'll be talking about a lot of the college football that's taking place this Saturday. Fitzy, looking forward to it, buddy. Stay well, because I don't want you tapping out of work again, okay?
No, I'm going to be ready for this. I'm going to carry you around like you're the sack of toys and I'm Santa. We are going to have a weekend.
The size juxtaposition of the two of us makes that visual even funnier, but I appreciate you, buddy. See you later.
Thanks, buddy.
Last call for phone calls if you got them. 615-737-1045 is the number. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone.
Holiday season is not right around the corner. It's pretty much here, and you need to fuel your holiday party with Hattie B's. Make your holidays hot with Hattie B's by going to HattieB.com. Get yourself 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 big old buckets of chicken, hot or not, grilled or fried, whatever works for you. Make sure you get a couple of quarts of those incredible scratch-made sides. My personal favorite, the pimento mac and cheese. And it doesn't just have to be the chicken, because Hattie B's is doing Southern salads. That's right. I have 2 words for you: cornbread, croutons. Just try it out. Thank me later. By the way, if you download the Hattie B's app today, you get a free dessert literally by just the act of downloading the app. You can start to build up those rewards. Order for pickup at any one of their 7 Middle Tennessee locations or delivery. Also, the factory at Franklin location still doing breakfast on weekends. So go check it out and make your holidays hot with Hattie B's.
Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay though.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. All right, let's put a bow on it. Fun show. If you missed any of it, Candace Story Lee, Jason Fitz, Lucas Lying, check out the podcast. Wherever you get the podcasts, you can also rewatch the show on YouTube if you would like to. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. The show is always available for a replay if you would like to do it that way. We do have congratulations that are in order. Ramon Foster, contract extension. Very happy for the big fella. Makes us happy to hear. It's a good lead-in to have. And just a generally great person to be around. So congratulations to Ramon on his new deal to stay here for many years to come.
You suck.
What's that about?
I didn't click that. I didn't play that.
Who else has control of the buttons?
I don't know, guys. I'm scared.
What do you mean?
I don't know who did that.
What would you like for me to do?
Congratulations, Ramon. We're happy that
also
you're here.
Good lead-in to have, like he's just your opening act or something.
He's a
literally our leader.
He's a very good opener.
Congrats to Ramon. He's a great opener. I really appreciate him setting the stage for
Gets the
me.
crowd
Isn't
fired
that
up.
Yeah.
That's literally the nature of the lineup. We are the lead-in for Blaine and Zach. What do you think this is?
Just funny. That's all.
Yes, of course. I think of everybody as my lead-in. That's right. What?
Oh, nothing. Don't want to bother you.
No, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it.
No, I don't have anything. I don't have. Here's the button that whoever was trying to click something meant to click. Yes.
That's quite the opposite.
Well, they shouldn't be so close to each other. Not sure who put this together. Oh, wait.
You.
I'm being told that I did this.
Yeah. Being told that you did this.
I'm getting word.
Oh.
What's
You're just having some fun back
Yeah,
there.
the buttons are sticky. These buttons are very sticky.
Is it an actual? It's not a physical button. It's like a touch.
They don't know that. They don't know that
though.
you're ruining the theater
Your
of the
lie.
mind
I'm
here.
ruining your lie. Is what you mean to say.
Yes. Ooh, this really happened. When are you going to find out half the things I tell on this show are lies?
Everybody knows.
Ashton Gene T, come on, dude.
Yeah.
You bought that hook, line, and stink.
I didn't know. I really did. I don't know.
That one is crazy.
Never nudes. They're out there. They're real. Ryan is in Nashville.
Yes, but how y'all doing today? My old no is Cameron. Wins and losses don't matter, Ward. Not for long. League consists of wins. You can't be even killed if you don't have wins to match losses. Ryan Knight, Love, Life, Peace, 1972. That's my old no of the week.
Thank you for the call. A little late on the oh no.
I think just stay on hold, Ryan, for your chance to win. Someone will get to you if they are able. Also glad he gave us his graduating class, his email address there, his mother's forwarding address.
Just emergency contact.
Class of 1972, also a blood donor of O type. That's right, I am the universal donor. Ryan, get at me. That's my oh no this week.
I wonder how many people actually feel the way that Ryan does. Like, what percentage of the fan base are just like, yeah, he's fine, but he's not very good. Cam. I mean, I genuinely, I feel that way. He's fine, but he's not very good.
Mike McCoy in his press conference yesterday said, yeah, he's having your typical rookie season for a quarterback. And I feel like that also can kind of sum it up. That kind of is a typical rookie season.
But he's not a typical rookie. He's the number one overall pick in the draft. And I think there's nothing wrong with having a higher standard for the number one overall pick in the draft. It's why I'm confused. Just as I'm confused for the people that want to lower the bar for the Titans organization when you cannot literally lower it any more than we have. Like, why is it wrong to have a higher standard for achievement for the guy that is viewed or is drafted to be the franchise changer? I've never understood that at all.
I guess it's about finding that balance of having a high standard of achievement while also being cognizant of context of a player's developmental path and what he is, or in this situation, what he is not surrounded by.
Yeah, and my argument has always been he's not surrounded. Like, this year's team is not a worse team than last year's team was. They are a worse performing football team than last year's team was. Now, by 1 win versus, or 3 wins versus 2 wins so far. But I've never...
But talent-wise, you don't think this team is worse?
Better left tackle situation, better offensive line situation.
Sure, better offensive line situation on paper, no doubt, but...
The defense has been traded away and injured, and so
And a wide receiver, you had Calvin Ridley playing football last year.
But at the start of the year, yeah, I've never... Like, when they were at their worst at the start of the year, that was the worst football team I've ever watched, and that was not...
Oh, for sure.
That was not who they should have been. Now, there is context that is important. Was Dan Moore good at the start of the season? Has Kevin Zeitler been good all season long? No. But it's definitely a more talented team than last year's team was, which is why I've not really gone along with that as an excuse. That, to me, has been the biggest excuse made for him. It's not actually a worse football team.
I don't know that I would say it's a more talented team when they went out and spent as much money as they did and let go some of their more talented players that were on the team last year, right? Like Harold Landry is a more talented edge rusher than anybody currently on the Titans. Calvin Ridley.
Raymond Jones might argue.
Sure, but I would disagree with that. But yes, no doubt, the expectations were... hovering. We're low to begin with, right? It's like, can they just show improvement, clear 4 to 5 wins?
Yeah, and they were worse.
And it became pretty clear that they were going to be worse. But then as the season goes on, to me, it's kind of a waste of time to take those same standards in the preseason, which have obviously changed, and apply it to games now where, like, the Titans are bringing a knife to a gunfight in these games, right? With how the season's developed, with the injuries and all of the trades, and now they've got a bunch of rookies out there, and the offensive line's playing better, and that's great, but it is hard for me to walk away from those San Francisco games and judge them like you would judge any other regular NFL team, because I hate to say that it's not a fair fight when they're going to San Francisco to play the Niners, but it's just not with what they have versus what the Niners have.
No, that's fair, but he was not sacked for the first time all year in that game, and it wasn't an overwhelmingly impressive performance. That to me, that's a disappointment to me. People got mad at me because I said he was subpar. Yeah, he wasn't hit in this game, and he was still missing on some routine stuff. Yeah, he threw a couple of nice passes, and Van Jefferson came up with a hell of a catch on a good Cam Ward ball, but I want better from him. I don't think that's wrong, and I don't know why he should be immune from criticism in a game where he was given opportunities against a bad defense to succeed, and he still really didn't take advantage of it the way that I would like to see him do.
Quickly, I'd like you guys to react off this. Amber in the F&M Bank chat says, it's the media's fault. They hyped up Cam and compared him to Mahomes. I don't think they compared his traits to Mahomes, but no one was saying that he was, nor in our training camp coverage was anyone saying, man, this guy's really lighting it up. This guy looks like the next coming of a hoodle. No one's saying that or has said that.
No, it's just something. It's an easy thing to say after the fact.
Hoodla.
Yeah, hoodla.
Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame talent.
Somebody says inaccurate. Yes, has potential. I'm so tired of potential. Traylon Burks had potential. Isaiah Wilson had potential.
Yeah, but
Caleb Farley had potential.
That's what rookie quarterbacks are, bud. I know it sucks, but it doesn't change that fact.
A rookie quarterback. He's the #1 overall pick in the draft.
But he's a rookie. And so if you're wanting, I hate potential. I'm tired of potential. I want to see a final product his rookie year. It doesn't matter when he was picked.
No, I'm just saying.
It's still what he is.
Don't continue to cite potential to me 3 years down the road, because that's what has happened here the last couple of years, and I'm sick of potential talk. I really am.
There's a point where that expires. With Cam Ward, as exhausting as it is, obviously not even close to that point. Of course you're not.
If we did the polls today, the polls would have been presented by
Two Rivers Ford,
the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Prime time with Robert and me is off tonight. You can still hang out with Easton. Who does it with Easton?
Ross does.
Okay, Easton and Ross. See you later.